Let's go! Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. Looks like I may be doing a solo tonight, unless our boy JJ pops in here to hang out with us a little bit. I think he may be. But for now, we'll just get into talking a little bit about whatever. Thanks for joining us. I hope everybody has hit that like button. Make sure you're a subscriber. I know most of the people in here are already subscribers, but hey, we've kind of hit a lull on the subscribers going up. Hopefully, I'd like to see that kind of pop up a little bit again. What's up, everybody? What's up? Jason's fondest memory. Hey, this I'm starting to enjoy, Boomer. Doing sandcastles with his grandpa until his mom took the urn away. Ouch. Yo, man, that's kind of messed up. Thanks for wiping your feet, Cliff. Oh, and welcome to the show, my friend. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Love the hat. Hey, glad everybody likes the hat. I thought everybody might like that. I haven't had it on in a while. Welcome to the show, Bruce, Kim, Mike Wilkerson. Hello. Hankster, Stephen G. Oh, always chicken. And hey, Bishop Frank, how's it going today, sir? Glad everybody's in here. Hope everybody's doing well. What's up, Lemon? How are we doing today? Glad everybody's here. What's up? So, I got a couple of things planned to talk about a little bit. I guess we'll kind of get into a little bit of this game this weekend. We can go back over some stuff that we liked, we didn't like about the game last weekend against Tulsa. Really not much to not like, aside from a couple of little blown coverages here and there, stuff like that. What's up, Lone Wolf? How we doing, bud? Lot to like about what happened during the game the other day. And then, hey, what's up? Collins McDaniel, welcome to the show. Glad you could make it. Bring that hat Saturday. It will be there. It will definitely be there. Yeah, listen. Obviously, a lot of stuff we could talk about with that. I definitely want to get into a little bit of chat about Okie Light. What's going on at Okie Light? We hadn't really got a chance to talk too much about that. Sooners, Frisco, Texas in the house. Hey, glad you're out here, Sean. Appreciate it. Hey, yeah, Boomer and Sooner. Glad everybody's in here. Not liking what you're hearing about Justin Harrington. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that. Is that injury starting to look a little worse than what we may have originally thought? That I don't like either. Don't forget about Okie Light tonight. No, we're not going to forget about Okie Light tonight. How can we? They are, that is well, if you're a Sooner fan, it's just kind of that never-ending gift that keeps on giving, right? Just more and more stuff. I was watching the Mike Gundy conference yesterday, the press conference, where everything is great, right in the world, according to him yesterday. They just kind of got a little bit behind the 8 ball. Apparently, that running clock is just such a problem there. It's not the fact that they don't like to run the ball at all. Yeah, they're falling apart. No doubt. Yeah. And Hank and Cody Light chat. Their chat was agreeing with the shit. That was good stuff. Yeah, I think so too. I think, James, you're probably right there. I think that you got to have a lot more eye discipline than that. I think that was kind of what was clear about the mix up there. And look, it's just when they had 5 interceptions, so they were looking at probably 2 or 3 more there, or at least 2 more right there on that, and got a little greedy. And I would say with Macari, he probably, that's a little bit of freshman mistakes coming. I don't give Pearson as much leeway on that, being that he's a 6-year senior. You know, I just feel like that's one of those things that you kind of got to do. Fire Diet Dabo. That's a funny name. Yeah, that may be one of the ones we have to. We may have to adopt that one. Diet Dabo. The man cards have been revoked. Man cards have been revoked. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on Twitter there, chicken, yesterday. That was funny stuff. There's no major problems in the program, according to me. Yeah. Listen, he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say when it came to that. It's always covering his own ass, right? And it's been like this for a while now. Nothing was. I think that the thing that really got me going on. I mean, I've always been. I'm not a fan. Hadn't been a fan in a while of him. But the thing about Gundy is that really upset me last year was when the mass exodus happened, and there was a lot of stuff going around. You could have, Cody and I talked about it on his show. It was going around, and he has a lot of folks from the fan base, parents of players that were in the program, that keep him on their speed dial and let him know what's going on, because he is one of the few people that reports on that program that reports the truth and that will say the truth. And that includes the guys that he has on his show on Sunday nights, which, by the way, is ridiculous if you ask me. I'll just say that I wouldn't keep either one of them on the show anymore. I think they're both clowns. And they're taking up for Gundy and taking up for everything else and calling everybody idiots for speaking the truth. And they basically called Cody an idiot on his show on Sunday. So, it is what it is. That being said, he's one of the few people that tells the truth about it. It's gotten him in some trouble as far as what the folks there in Stillwater have to say about it. They don't want him around the program. They don't like him speaking to players in the program. He was doing that, and they pretty much have kept him from being able to do that since then. But it's kind of weird that yeah. Yeah, he flies around. But yeah. I don't think I made a for sure pick, but I was asking, I was like, why is everybody so dead set on them winning that game? They hadn't done it in 20 years. I mean, and to be honest, you hadn't seen a whole lot out of Tennessee that looked great. And I will say something that's something we should talk about too. We'll talk about a few things. We'll talk about some of the stuff that happened and everything, but just to stick with this Okie Light stuff. Yeah, he's burnt. It's not even that. Here's what I think it is, Sean. Here's what I really think it is. What I was saying was that the thing that really pissed me off about him was the way that they called he's got a lot of people out there that apologize for him and do a lot of that kind of crap all the time, that he never does anything wrong, right? When all that mass exodus crap happened, and a lot of it had to do with Dunn and Dickey for that matter, apparently, but for sure the offensive coordinator Dunn, there was a lot of stuff out there about verbal abuse coming from them, and a lot of the players that, look, they lost. I don't care what Cody says. They lost 4 of their top 6 production guys at receiver. They lost their starting quarterback that Gundy called the greatest OSU quarterback in history himself earlier in the year when he was on, I believe it was with, I can't remember which one it was actually. But anyway, one of those major national interviews. It may have been with the Fox guys. Maybe it was with the Fox guys. I don't really remember. But anyway, one thing I know for sure is that they immediately started calling them out and acting like that they didn't have any kind. Look at the way that they did Trace Ford for leaving. Look at the way that they did acting like what's his name, the linebacker that went to USC, like it was all their fault. It's because they didn't have any kind of they don't have any kind of loyalty to the program and all this stuff. And that's the other thing, that Okie State probs guy, screw that dude. He's always attacking, especially the girls in that program. Some soccer player was at the Oklahoma game this past weekend in Tulsa. She was wearing crimson, hanging around. Apparently, her brothers wrestle at OU. She was there with her brothers and some friends. She didn't have an OU logo on, and he's calling her out, trying to get her in trouble with their coaches, or like, basically trying to. To me, it seems like he's attacking women. To me, that's just how I feel about it. I don't know. Anyway, they did a lot of that. Look at all the crap that Doug Gottlieb did when Trace Ford went over there, but all of it was everybody else's fault. Nothing had to do with the coaching staff. It was all that they're just bad kids, blah, blah, blah. At some point, when that many guys leave, it has to be somebody else, right? There has to be something else to it. It's not that they're all, and if that's the case, if it really was all of the players, well, then it kind of goes back on you for this is who you're recruiting. Right? But I mean, we all saw Spencer Sanders put his life on the line for Oklahoma State over the last 4 years. I mean, seriously, the guy took beatings back there under that ridiculous half-ass offense that they had. And the 1 year that, they had every chance in the world to go win the whole thing. Then, of course, they blame that one on Spencer for throwing interceptions, which, I would have told you after the second pick in that Big 12 championship game, maybe you stop calling that play. It looks to me like like they've got it figured out what you're doing. Maybe you should, make an adjustment. I don't know. Yeah. OK State props is an asset. Yes, very much so. Yeah. And listen, look at how great in all the shit they were talking about him that whole time after he left about, he's nobody. Nobody cares about him. He's never healthy anyway. He gets to Oklahoma and all of a sudden he's healthy and happy and doing great. He's one of the better guys on that defense. If you look at his athleticism out there, don't tell me you couldn't use him in freaking Stillwater right now, because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do it. They couldn't stop anybody. Yeah. Yeah, look, and that's the whole thing is something else that, I don't know if you guys read about. Apparently the meeting, it was about a couple of days or 10 days or so before the start of the season. A bunch of major boosters, their NIL collective folks, I guess they're pokes for a change or something like that. I forget exactly what they're called, but something along the lines of that. A bunch of their major boosters, and then a lot of the people that are, in charge of the school, we're all in on this big meeting. And he goes in there and shits all over the NIL, shits all over the freaking transfer portal. Yeah, like somebody said in here a minute ago, it was Dabo light. It was. And look, to me, that it's been a big signal one after the other. They didn't care anything. I mean, think about this. The spring game comes around and they're redoing the stands, part of the stands there at T-Boone Stadium or whatever, at Boone Pickens Stadium. And so rather than trying to move it, which to me seems like an opportunity you haven't been doing very well recruiting in-state kids since Venables got there. Seems like it would have been a good opportunity to go to one of the big high schools in the state, at least have that amount of, a big enough stadium where you can fit 25,000, 20,000, whatever. I mean, think about some of these bigger schools throughout the state that they definitely could have done that, right? Why not go do that and make it at one of your pipeline schools that you want to be bringing kids in from? Because God knows you're not going to be able to recruit in Texas the way that you have been. You're not. You're going to continue getting the leftover guys and some of those guys that nobody really wants from the big SEC schools that are in the state of Texas now. Not to mention Baylor and TCU and now that Colorado's back, them too. Right? So you need to be doing better in the state of Oklahoma, and they don't even care. They just, we won't even bother with having one. then, as I said, it was everybody else's fault other than Mike Gundy's. I remember back when they lost that game at TCU after going up 24-7, 2 minutes into the second quarter, and then they gag. Total Okie light right there. And apparently, a lot of the players were highly pissed off. And what does he say in the post game? Well, that one wasn't as fun as the first few. They lose 5 out of 6 coming down the stretch of the season last year, get blown out by Oklahoma, who's at their worst in 20 freaking years. And yet, no biggie. No problems there in Stillwater. He's got a 5-year revolving contract, and now he just thinks he can do no wrong. And it's almost like he's thumbing his nose at him saying, go ahead and fire me. Go for it. It amazes me. It amazes me. Who is he for real? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you got? I think he is begging for a buyout, and he has to be, because look, the other thing is and then apparently from what I'm hearing, so Little Gundy comes in and decides he doesn't want to start. He goes with that. I guess that's okay, but still plays him quite a bit. And in fact, still plays him more than anybody else. But they run their best player on offense, their running back, Ollie, what's his name, gets 3 carries in the game. And for all Cody kept saying that how much they were going to run the football this year, and how big that was going to be. And they look like the same offense. They're running the same offense that they've always ran, only worse. Yeah. Hey, that's not the worst idea in the world. Would he want that job? I mean, I tell you who I think that they ought to be after. They should have been after him for a while. To me, it should have been. I don't know. If it's me, I'm going after freaking Jeff Traylor. Quickly, UTSA. 3 Conference USA championships in a row. He gave Texas all they wanted last year. He's given Houston all they wanted the last 2 years, and with not the same amount of talent in his program that they have. He's done really good. He loves the transfer portal. He knows that it works, and he seems like the kind of guy that would go in there and immediately figure it out. And let's not make the mistake of listening to freaking Okie Light fans when they tell you they don't have any money to pay these kids or to be able to do any better. Apparently what Gundy said was, no, we don't want to pay these guys more money. I don't like giving them money. I would rather us put money into the facilities. You think these kids give a shit? Your facilities, first off, the facilities at Oklahoma State are as good as most anywhere in the country. Most anywhere in the country. They're good enough that you're going to need to put a little bit of cash into the kids if you're going to play this game. And like we've talked about with Dabo, as we've said for a good amount of time, right? You better figure it out. If you're not going to get on board with this whole thing, then you should just go ahead and leave. You should just go ahead and leave. Because now at this point, and here's the thing, if they know that he's not going to get on board, which that meeting should have told everybody that, if you didn't already know it to begin with, they know now for sure that he's never going to be on board with the NIL. He's never going to be on board with the transfer portal. He's never going to be on board with any of that shit. And as long as he's going to continue to not be on board with it, they're going to fall further and further and further behind. You got Coach Prime in Colorado coming back next season. Whatever you want to think about who they are as a team this year, it's not going to get worse around Boulder, particularly with them coming back into the Big 12. They hadn't been good since they left the Big 12. They're better than they've been since then. And look, Coach Prime has deep recruiting roots right in the state, right in Texas and Dallas for that matter. He's going to be a problem, not even just for the Big 12, by the way. He's a problem for everybody in the country. There's a reason why a lot of people are hating on the dude, and it's because he's upset in the apple cart recruiting wise. They don't like the way that shit's going. But you're right, Stephen G. Facilities do not recruit anymore. That's right. T-Boone would have it would have been gone. I think he would have been gone after last season, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, absolutely. They are. And look, and don't forget about here's the other one. Utah's coming in too. Look, Coach Witt has done a great job recruiting Texas anyway. Even when he was in the Mountain West, he was recruiting Texas well. Right? It's only going to get better for them. Hell, Coach Sataki from BYU was talking about it at Big 12 Media Days, how they had already gotten a bump at BYU on the recruiting trail in Texas because of the fact that they were coming to the Big 12. Imagine what that's going to do for teams that are already really good. Like them. Like Utah. I know nobody that's remaining in the Big 12 wants to hear about Utah being good. They're going to be good. So all this BS talk and we've talked about this before. Hell, this idea that Okie Light was all of a sudden going to be the big dog in the conference is silly to begin with. It was silly to begin with. Didn't matter. It was BS before. It's even more BS now. Now that they've added Colorado and Utah, and they already added BYU, Cincinnati isn't going to be I don't know with Satterfield how great they'll ever really be. But as much as none of us really care about UCF right now, they're getting a recruiting bump too. They are. I don't think they're going to be great this year. I don't buy them at all. I tend to doubt that they beat Kansas State this week. I really tend to doubt that. But you never know. Kansas State laid an egg at Mizzou last week, so who's to say? Yeah, he should. Yeah, man. Okay, so yeah, look. But let's be real. He should have been gone 5 years ago. Look, he should have been. I've said that a lot too. And look, in the end, yeah, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, they are going to too. With all the shit he's talked in the last year, particularly the way that he went in there at Big 12 Media Days and attacked Oklahoma, because he didn't, and we already talked about what that was about. You know damn good and well. That was so that he didn't have to talk about the whole thing with Casey Dunn or any of the rest of his decisions and what the hell happened within his program. Why the mass exodus? To me, it's really crazy. But, all that crap he's been talking, they're going to get the crap beat out of them. They were going to get the shit beat out of them anyway. They don't have enough guys to even stay competitive with South Alabama. And I know South Alabama is a good program. They went 10-3 last year, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's no excuse for them going to Stillwater and beating Oklahoma State. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. Yeah, hang a hundo. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Okie Light stands a good chance to lose all their conference games next year. They stand a good chance to lose most of them this year. I don't know who they're going to beat. This week may be their best chance. Cody's been calling it a pillow fight all weekend. A big pillow fight. But he still seems to think they're going to win it. I'm not sure that they do. The one thing that we know that Iowa State will do is play good defense. And I don't know how good a defense you really have to play to beat them. You're not even like going, okay, we're going to start 3 guys. We're going to play 3 guys. And whoever looks like they've got the hot hand, we're going to leave them in. They're not even doing that. It's hilarious. Yeah. And they got 300,000 to come and do it too. Hey, give us 300 grand. We'll come kick the shit out of you. I love it, man. It's hilarious. Yeah. And the thing is I don't know that. Yeah. The toilet bowl. Yeah, it is. Oh, I think that's pretty. I would expect as much. That's one of those games that you want to go in there and just beat the crap out of them and hold them completely. And I don't know that. I mean, I'm doubting that by then they're still playing three quarterbacks. But then again, who knows? Who knows? You know, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Look, and you guys were in here on Saturday whenever I had the preview show, the game day show, and that guy got in there and got all pissy. Quit talking crap about Oklahoma State. Blah blah blah. Oh, little did he know what was coming next. Yeah, they haven't beaten. Hey, listen, they haven't beaten Iowa State hardly at all, really. I mean, even the year that look, they still would have made the playoff had they beaten Iowa State that year. After beating Oklahoma, it wouldn't have mattered whether they won the Big 12 or not. They still would have made the playoff. Iowa State kept them out of that playoff. That and, them screwing it up against Baylor. But they probably still would have made the playoff. Because Baylor was they had two losses no matter what. And there wasn't any teams from the Pac-12 that were going to get in over them. Because they didn't. It's crazy. It's just wild. Anyway, I don't know, man. It's just it's weird to me that whole story. I was blown away by that story. And even Swain, he jumped on there and was saying on Twitter that was absolutely true because there had been some questions about whether it was or not on Cody's show on Sunday. They were saying they didn't know if they believed that or not. Why would first off, I didn't understand why you wouldn't believe it because to me, I mean, he's said it before. It's not the first time he said that he didn't care for the transfer portal or the NIL stuff, that he wasn't happy with all that stuff. He loves to just rail on everything that he hates about college football these days. Hey, one thing we know, you either evolve or you die. And there's nothing staying the same. You're not unringing this bell. And that goes for Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney and everybody else who bitches about it all the time. It's not going to get better for schools. It's going to get better for kids. And it should. These folks have been making their money for a long time. Do I think they need to get a handle on the transfer portal? Probably. But in the end, at this point, it's pay for play. And the way that they have tried to get a handle on the transfer portal hasn't been done fairly at all. So what are we even talking about? Gunny doesn't. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't even like to recruit, Keaton. You're right. He hates recruit. He's always hated recruiting. Cowboy culture recruits itself. Get out of here with that shit. Get out of here with that shit. And the people that have done the recruiting for him are the former players that either played with him or later on down the line, and mostly not even for him. Some of them, yeah. But I mean, look, as good as he did going down there, and it's all been smoke and mirrors anyway, folks. All these, just like whenever I was on that show with that idiot on Cody's show, and all he kept saying was how stupid I was for not, giving Gundy his due. The guy never beats anybody but teams like what he just lost to the other day. Now that you're losing to those teams, we know that it's already over with. Because they've only beaten 3 Power 5 schools in non-conference play in the entirety of his career. And every one that with a winning record. Those winning records were 8-5 and 7-6. That's it. 8-5 and 7-6. 3 schools. They're 13-33 against anybody with a 10-win season. 13-33. Which means, and look, and think about this, another thing that I didn't even bring up on that show. Hell, Baylor of all people has won 3 conference championships with 3 different coaches, mind you, in the same amount of time that they love to boast about being second behind Oklahoma in wins in the last 10 years from the Big 12. Whoopty freaking crap. You don't win anything with it. So just because you get some wins over your Central Michigans and your Colorado School of Mines or whatever the hell they want to call it, all these crap schools that nobody cares about, what does any of that matter? But that's the whole point, is that they have acted like that this guy is the end all be all, and he's taken that and run with it and acted like it's turned him into that guy that is no longer, I give a shit about my players, I give a shit about the school. Now, instead of being the guy that takes up for his players, I'm 40, I'm a man. Now he's dogging his players. Now he's blaming everything on the players, never the coaches. That's the difference in now and when he started there. There was a time he was a good coach. That has long since passed him by. It's just crazy, man. Yeah, Central Michigan beat them. Yeah, that was a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago? I don't know, man. All I'm saying is that the more that you sit there and think about it, he is the antithesis of what he was when he took the job. And just like with athletes, if you think about something, this is the last thing I'm going to say. We'll jump off of this part. Just like with athletes, they always talk about, you don't pay a player for what he's done. You pay him for what he's going to do. You pay him for what he's going to do. The same should be true for coaches. Just because somebody did something and you won a Super Bowl or you did this or you did, it don't matter what it is. Whatever you've done in the past, that's not what you pay these guys for. And when you do that is when you screw up the organization. And they made the mistake at Oklahoma State of paying him for what they thought was such a great freaking tenure. I don't know a coach that would have been able to approach 3-15 against anyone. Anyone. They sit there and talk about having a winning record against everybody else except for Texas. And they're 500 against them or whatever it is. But you have a 3-15 record against Oklahoma and one freaking conference championship that, mind you, you didn't have to play a championship game for. Otherwise, you probably don't have that either, because that's one of those big games that you gag on every freaking time you're in it. It just is. It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy to me, but this is where we are. This is where we are, man. Wow. Oh, man. Okay. Now let me go through some of these. I look for the water boy to be Okie likes QB when Bedlam rolls around. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't be that surprised at that, Wilkerson. I like it. I like it. Wait. I feel confident Gundy will at least get a slight hold of this due to his track record. What is his track record? Bro, stop. Don't buy into that Keaton shit. Don't buy into it. Their track record is that they figure it out on how to beat everybody but the people in the conference that matter. It only gets, and here's the other thing that I would tell you. When they stop playing Oklahoma, which is, look, I'm not to say that I necessarily blame him for not wanting to play OU anymore, but as a program, they need to play OU. That's what keeps your knife sharp, if you want to call it that, at Oklahoma State, is that you got to try to keep up with Big Brother. Now that they're not trying to, it's going to be detrimental to the program. It is. It's going to be detrimental to the program. I don't know why you would feel confident in the guy. Yes. Yeah, he didn't get fired. He got 2 weeks suspension from covering the program. And guess what? The more that I've heard about that, that was just, he was trying to do a feel-good story about one of their players. And like a good reporter does, you don't just do that at your press conferences. You go talk to coaches off, away from your press conferences and everybody else. This is what, for feature stories and stuff like that, this is what you got to do. Now, I don't know what happened as far as like he should have been working that through the SID. I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. But apparently he was doing things away from their press conferences and shit. It's a joke is what it is. And God forbid, they didn't want him anywhere but in that press conference room because, he might run across Tebow doing something shady, It's a joke, bro. It's a freaking joke. Oh, man. Yeah, Tebow, Mr. Sensitivity. And he's lying through his teeth. We didn't really talk a whole lot about that. Where the hell does this guy get off lying about all that and you don't even have any proof of it? Suspended for 2 weeks. His media rights. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't need, pretty wild. Pistols backfiring like that. There you go. Yeah. Yes, Cowpoke Ranch. That's absolutely right. Mediocre Mike. This is why we call him that all the time. It is mediocrity. And look, it's a lot of in this day and time. I mean, you've seen what is it that the portal and NIL has done? It's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. Now, don't get it twisted that you're ever really going to get above these big programs because you're not. And the larger that they make the playoff, the harder it is for anybody else to win one. Right? You're going to get these Big 12 schools like TCU. They got into their best chance of winning it was last year. Even for that matter, Texas and OU, if they end up making it, you've got people that are picking them to get in, mostly Texas. Their best chance too. I mean, look, even no matter what, everybody's best chance to win the national championship is definitely going to be in the 14 playoff because you don't have to win as much. But do you think TCU was going to make? They couldn't even make it through a second game. It's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard, and they're talking about moving it up to 16. And that makes everybody happy because it allows access to the playoff, which gives you access to more money. I get that part of it. But if you think it's about giving people a fair chance to win the national championship, it's not. In fact, it's couldn't be further from that. Could not be further from that. Let's see. Hey, Lori's here. What's up, Lori? I can slam a revolving door. School of Mines. Yeah. DeMarco. What? Yes, Greg. Yes, that's correct. Hey, man, I invited you to come on and talk about this. How are you, Ms. Lori? Glad to see you in here. Glad to see you. Anybody heard from Adela lately? Who else we missing? Chicken once ate a Rubik's Cube and pooped it out solved. That's funny. I like that. Look. Greg, you can come in. I'll drop the link in there if you want to come in, even just for a minute. Tell us what you think about this. You're an Okie Light guy. Okay. I see what you said in the message. Never mind. All right. Yeah. Well, I think they are. That's why. Every top school has issues. A bit. Yeah, man, if you want to jump in even for a few minutes, I can throw this out there for you. Tristan, hey, what's up? That's Unc. What are you doing, Unc? I was trying to get K. Chris to come in, but he wouldn't. He said he's got some company over tonight, I guess. What are your thoughts on Okie Light there, Unc? Okay, no worries. Wow, does he really? I like it. Traver don't play, does he? I love that. That's freaking awesome. Greg is big. He is big. He is big. But you can chat a little? Okay, well here. Let me toss it to you. It's in your DMs. Hop on if you like. You can jump in and out. That's freaking hilarious, by the way. I did not know he said that about him. Love it. Love it. Love it. You like Traver? You like Traver Lori? I like that too. I'm a fan all of a sudden. All right. We got 73 folks in here right now. 73. How many likes we got? Have you folks wiped your feet since you got in here? Please tell me you have. That's only 33 likes, and we got 72 folks in here. Come on now. Help us out here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Put Dion in a box, and it's mime time. Yeah, that was kind of wild this week, right? Was kind of wild this week, right? I think it was kind of ugly on both sides of that, huh? Yeah. I wasn't a fan of what Shador did poking that kid in the eye. I thought that was kind of a crappy hit too, but I would hire him as an analyst. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I could see that. Yeah, look, and I think that, when it comes to all that, you start thinking about it with what it is, I mean, the story, it was right there in front of everybody, and I think Swain's going to jump in here real quick, and he immediately backed it up, was that talking to all those big-time boosters, you'd think they want to hear that when they know throughout the rest of college football what's going on for the people that aren't embracing the transfer portal, aren't embracing NIL. I mean, if it wasn't for A&M being a complete freaking shit show itself, I mean, they've got everything else down. They're getting the NIL guys. They're getting transfer portal guys. They're just not able to coach them up, right? Hop in and at least tell us just a little bit about what happened. What exactly happened with all that deal? Well, thank you, Lori. I'm glad that's true. I'm glad. Will Cincy be a test like SMU? They're beating TCU this week. We're like Tulsa. Well, I don't think so. I don't see them really when you start looking at Cincy. I mean, Emory Jones. I think if you make him beat you throwing the ball, they're going to get killed. If you can keep him in the pocket or keep him from beating you by getting out of the pocket, I think you're going to beat him up. Where they're really good at, it seems to me, is obviously within that defensive line, that interior defensive line. Not only do they have Dante Corleone, but they also have Jawan Briggs, who is another one of those All-American type guys. They're really good, right? And of course, he's going to play that outside, that left defensive end, I think. And so, but with Corleone, man, that guy's going to take up blocks, and it's going to be tough to run against. I think what you got to do is you got to make sure that you're going to need to run the ball pretty well. But I also think that you just need to get out there and get the ball off. I think if they go out there and attack like they did this past weekend, I think that they should take care of business. This is like Chris said on the show, on his show on Saturday. This is where you have to show some maturity and go handle your business, which is something that I think OU has done a really good job of so far this season, by the way. You know what I mean? What? Whoa. Wait. Yeah. Reported by the same people who reported Tebow death threats. Hey, look at you even calling him Tebow, Greg. I love it. Our speed will suffocate them on both sides. Yeah. Listen, I think you need to go out there and handle business, though. You know what I mean? This is not a team. Here's what you want to see is, remember last season after those first 3 games, Oklahoma looked pretty good on defense. Now they've looked a lot better in these 3 games, right? A lot better. They've done what they're supposed to do with inferior teams. You know, you're supposed to go out there and beat the crap out of them, unlike Okie Light. Right? Sorry, but it is what it is. But, yeah, if this was 2 years ago, saying we're going to beat the hell out of them since he's in the good football team. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. And, yes, there's some PTSD. But I think this is where, when Chris was talking about it the other day, this is where you got to go out there and show that you're going to just handle your business, beat them up. Right? Beat them up. Look, if they couldn't beat Miami of Ohio and they were at home, you really shouldn't have a hard time with them. I think that the main thing that you have to do, as I said, is you need to make sure that you don't have an issue slowing down the mobile quarterback. Cut his legs off, man. You can't let him run. Can't let him get into that. And if you saw anything that you didn't really like last week, it was that once the other guy got in there, oh, look, here comes JJ. Once that other guy got in there, then you had some issues there. Welcome, Mr. JJ Kitchen.
What's up, brother? What's going on, man?
Yeah, man, good to see you. We were just sitting here talking trash about Okie Light and Mike Gundy and all that.
I can tell you this after Pitt's loss, and then listening to Big 12 fans stick out for West Virginia. I've certainly had it up to here with Big 12 fans right now.
Well, good. There's none of them in here.
Thank God we're not on a Big 12 show.
Here's the thing. You're on the show of a current Big 12 team that's on their way to the SEC, and they don't give a shit about the Big 12, most of these folks.
Let me tell you, folks, welcome to our new show. It's called Fuck Around and Find Out. Welcome to it at 8 p.m.
Oh, David's been taking it on the chin this weekend, I'll tell you.
Brother, I'll tell you what, man. Shit, man. It's been a rough couple weeks, man. Watching it's Pittsburgh defense. The Pittsburgh defense looked good, but our Pittsburgh offense did not look good. So that's a major issue. So
yeah, Phil Jurkovec doesn't look like he's that great, huh?
He doesn't, man.
Hadn't figured it out.
It seems like, man, him coming home, it's just like the pressure certainly got to him. What's up, everybody? Great to see everybody in here again. Please, if you haven't already, hit the like button. Yeah, JJ, the big let's go, Steve. That's why I like you, Steve. This is why you're my guy.
I'm telling you, man. There's very few Big 12 fans in here, and I guess Swain may still be in there in the comment section, but he'd be the only one, I think.
Yeah, but I can tell you this though, it's hey man, it's only a couple games. Mike, you're the man, brother. Thank you again. It's always good to hop on here and see some of the best fans and all of YouTube, honestly, and all of the podcasters. Man, you guys are the best fans in the world. Did Pitt eat shit? Yeah, we did eat shit. It was a close game, that's for sure. But I think the way I described it on my post game show was it's just West Virginia made less mistakes. You know what I mean? And it's just it's what it came down to, man. And props to them for getting the dub. Good for them.
Series tied 1-1. Look, Oklahoma lost to them last year there, and they shouldn't have. But as bad as they were, as bad as Oklahoma was at times, West Virginia was not good last year. and they still went in there and lost to them. So it's a tough place to win, and it wasn't even nighttime when they lost to them up there. So it's a different deal. I get it.
Yeah. So I'm happy.
You never know with rivalry games.
Yeah, and I'm happy for Coos because I know obviously Coos is one of the best. Like last year's West Virginia. Sorry, we were organizing that GoFundMe for you. Yeah, I know, dude. Dude. Honestly, I was just so happy. We were like so happy about the defense, man. It stepped up. Only 211 yards of total offense, kept 60 yards passing. But dude, it's just the offense, man. It's got to figure itself out. I think the only way it figures itself out at this point is to make a quarterback change. And if I had to guess, they'll probably start Jakovic again. I just know Narduzzi's a player's coach, man. He's just a loyal guy, and I think it's a good thing, but also a bad thing. And I think to this point, I think they'll probably start him. But if he does bad again, they're going to make a change. I would think Christian Veilleux, I think his dad said it's like Mario Lemieux. So I guess it would be like Christian Veilleux, or Nate Yarnell would probably come in at like probably the second quarter or third quarter. And that's kind of what I see at this point. And obviously, North Carolina, they're ranked, they're ranked in the top 20. Get any
further behind, right? Now you're going to start playing conference games.
Yeah, so it's just the way I look at it right now, man, is it's only 1 and 2. You have a lot more games left to play, and there's a lot of winnable games on the schedule for sure. The ACC's really good this year, but you want to get your guy in there, man. It's only 3 games, man. You're 1 and 2. Once you go 1 and 3, you're really pushing it. So you got Drake May coming in. He's a Heisman candidate. So
Coach is good. He's actually coaching his grandson's team today, so he couldn't make it. They've got a big game coming up this weekend. Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, brother. That's going to be – I think it's going to be a hell of a game, man. I want to see for me, obviously, I watched Hartman in the ACC. He had plenty of great games, man. He put up some sick numbers. But in the times of pressure, he kind of folded a little bit, especially in the ACC championship game. But I want to see what he does at Notre Dame, man. He's done a good job so far.
I think it's a different look. And, that's what we kind of talked about earlier in the year. And, I've kind of argued that point a little bit the last couple of days on Twitter. Is look, what we've seen of him, and don't get me wrong, I know they haven't really played anybody yet.
Yeah, that's a big issue too.
That NC State game could have been a way that could have been one of those trappy kind of games where they go in, they have a long delay, and what did they do? They did what they do. What I like about the Notre Dame team is that they are freaking physical, JJ.
Mm-hmm. They
will run you over. And they play good defense.
I think they did a really good job. Especially, their defense has been really good. I think that rain delay certainly helped out quite a bit, get them back on track. But this is going to be a really big test to see where they are. This isn't,
Oh no, and I'm not saying that by any means that they're going to definitely win the game. I think that the fact is that they have them at home. They have a quarterback that you can. Look, as Coach should tell you, last year they didn't, he said something the other day. He goes, that how he always says they couldn't throw to feed the starving birds last year.
Yeah.
And the other day he was like, shit, there wasn't a living bird in freaking South Bend for 2 years.
Yeah. And that's why it's funny. We're seeing what's his face, Tyler Buckner down at Alabama. He looks ridiculously horrible. But dude, Notre Dame has their quarterback, man. He's done great to this point, and honestly, NC State is not a bad team. So that's why the way that they handled that's where I really earned the respect. I think this is going to be a lot closer to what people think. I think Ohio State has quarterback problems. They've only played some really dog shit teams. It was really close to Indiana. Indiana's really not a good football team.
Right.
This past weekend they faced. Wasn't Youngstown State? Damn it, I can't remember who they faced, but they basically took care of business. That's kind of where they're at this point. But this is going to be a test for both teams. We're going to find out really what these two teams are made of. Again, Notre Dame is just built up front. Obviously, I like
them, man, and they're better at receiver than they have been. I like them.
Yeah,
I think that, as I said, they're better at receiver than they have been. Their running back room is really good.
Yeah.
The thing is here's the thing. We're in talking about Hartman. He's a lot better than what they've had at quarterback, but he doesn't have to win it on his own anymore. At Wake Forest, he kind of did.
Mm-hmm.
What I've liked about what I saw out of him, and we're going to get something from Shardy here real quick. What I've liked about him is the fact that he's shown the ability to make that more than one read. When you're in that mesh concept, it's one read and chuck it, right?
Yeah.
You kind of know the matchups you're going to get before the ball's ever snapped. You have that one read and you're going to make that go. Shouty Parker, what's up, my man? How you been?
Gentlemen, what's going on? Happy to see y'all, man. Sorry I was on another show, man, but happy to be here.
I know you were. I was watching it right until I went live myself.
Hey, my guy. I thought I was going to have to put out an APB on you. Ask the guys. I've been asking about you, man, checking up on you, see how you doing, man.
JJ, right?
JJ know who I'm talking about. I ain't seen him in a few weeks, man. You know, it went down and stuff, so you know.
Hey, tell you what, man, it's been tough the last couple of weeks, but I can tell you this: we'll see what they do. But I'll tell you what, it's been tough, dude. I'll tell you what, but it's been on a couple different shows, and especially just trying to get my show going. But I can tell you this, man, it's Pitt's got a. It's funny. They said they're their quarterback away, man. It's just our defense played lights out. I just feel bad for him, man. It's just the quarterback play's been dog shit, man. It's been horrible, just horrible. So we'll see.
Did you have? Let me ask. I'm sorry, Jess. I'm not trying to come in and take up your show.
Go right ahead. We were talking about whatever.
Okay, so let me ask you this. But was that a point of emphasis or weakness coming into the season, quarterback?
So, I mean, honestly, when I watched his tape, in 2020 through 2022 at Boston College, I thought Jurkovec was going to be good. That was really the biggest question mark, I think, honestly, for the team moving forward. The defense under Pat Narduzzi, it's been in the top 20 for the past 5 years. I knew what they were going to have there. The question was really the offense and the quarterback room. What was it going to look like? He just hasn't. I mean, to be honest with you, brother, I think he's got the yips. He can't even. Now it's to like the point where he's in his hometown. He hasn't. The last two games he's struggled. The game against Cincinnati, he struggled mightily. He made good throws, and then there were just a bunch of bad throws. But at least it was like 50-50. This past game, they pretty much said, "Look, we're just going to try to run the football," and it just didn't work. We lost. We lost by 11 points. It was, it was close. But at the end of the day, that was kind of, for me, that was a lot of where the questions were lying. And I think that for me personally, I don't know. I know they're going to start him this weekend because Pat Narduzzi's a player's coach guy. He's a loyal guy, but it's a good thing and a bad thing. Loyalty can be a great thing, but it can be a really bad thing. But I think that they need to make a quarterback change severely. And I think Christian Veyer, kid who's a transfer from Penn State, he was a hell of a quarterback. They had Drew Aller up there. They had multiple good quarterbacks. I think he's really good. He's got a strong arm. He's shown that actually in the game. I don't know. Personally, I would let him play, but we're going to see. They got to make a decision. So it's either you play a different quarterback and put up some points and give your defense a break where your defense has done its job. It hasn't allowed over 25 points in the last 3 games. It's doing its job.
Make a quarterback change. Nick Saban did 3 in 1 week.
Yeah.
All right.
And Alabama's in a tight spot, but I give Nick credit, man. He when something's not working, he makes a change. It's a business, but that's the difference, in my opinion, between Nick Saban and a Kirby Smart. Those guys, it's a different world, man. I just think that it's less relationship oriented and more of, hey, you either do it or you don't. And that's why those teams win as much and consistently as they do. I loved how Pitt's been they finished in the top 25 the past 2 years. They've won 20 games in 2 years. It's been great. That's major progress. But where you got to take that next step, and just the relationship portion is getting involved with business right now. And it's been pretty noticeable.
Yeah. And I think, man, that was my biggest thing is I think that Pitt came into this season. I liked them for being one of the top teams in the ACC, but that
Same
was
here.
under the impression that Jurkovec was going to be good.
Yeah,
right?
That was. You looked at his tape. He was averaging 3,000 yards passing, all that stuff. And I just
does it seem like he's got the scared of getting hit thing? Is that what it was because he got hurt pretty good at the end of his BC career, correct?
Yeah, he was pressured on 65% of his dropbacks at BC, which was the highest in the country by over 15%.
And turn the clock too fast.
Yeah,
that's
so
the same
I think
thing
now
that's going on with our quarterback.
Yeah,
guys that tonight.
Just like the mental psyche at this point. And for me, I made a video about it. I just said for his mental health, I think you got to sit the kid down. I think just because mentally he's just not there. And when you're not there and you're in a fog, and it's D1, it's Power 5 football, baby. You find that one guy comes out of nowhere, man, and he clocks you. It's going to be, it's not just a bruise. It's going to be like a broken arm or a broken face. I mean, it's one or the other. So, for me, I just would sit the kid down. It's not just because of the bad play, but it's just for his mental health. I just think that what's worse too is that he's a hometown kid. You know what I mean? I just think that kind of stuff's getting to him. It's not like he's out of town.
I'm laughing at chicken.
Yeah. Yes, I can outrun Sean. I have a chicken cat.
But it's kind of like being in a. It's kind of like being in a simulator. This is kind of how I feel about our sport. You can do good all week doing practice. You can do good all week doing film sessions. Some people are just not gaming. They can play good and run the offense, but they're not gaming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I feel like is going on with our quarterback, and maybe that's something that the Pitt quarterback be having too. He's just not a gamer.
Yeah.
Right. It could be, and you see a lot of it. I mean, you see a lot of that kind of stuff around college football.
Just realize your hat, Jason.
You like that? Always horns down, baby. Always horns down.
I did realize that.
Yeah. Yep. I hadn't worn it in a few weeks, so I thought I'd bust it out. Hey, man, it's always good times. And, we've been talking about old Mike Gundy before y'all got here. I was trashing on him a little bit. What a deal, right? Losing to South Alabama, getting beat down by South Alabama. And they got three quarterbacks that aren't gamers.
Jason, in your opinion, when it was funny, I was listening on the way home when I was driving back from the gym. In your opinion, I mean, after that loss, I mean, he's got to be on the hot seat, right? I mean,
what? After that loss,
hell, he should have been on the hot seat
about years before now.
Yeah,
hey, man,
I mean,
but
it's like
if you listen to you know what? It's not. It's you'd think that, Shawty, but there's very few people that want to get rid of him, and I think even right now that's the case.
Because that's what I thought.
We're starting to get more people around that are going to be about it. But here's the thing. I think that what it is, it's less about what happens Saturday. It's that coupled with, because they'll be lucky if they win. Like this weekend, Cody was calling it the big pillow fight with them in Iowa State. He's calling it a pillow fight, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they beat Iowa State. Iowa State, they may not have offense, but what they do have is defense, and the offense at Oklahoma State is non-existent.
Yeah,
and he was making excuses in his press conference yesterday about once you get behind, then you're just kind of screwed with this running clock. So now he's making it about everything else, right? It's always an excuse for what they can and can't do. I mean, it would have been like Georgia saying, well, we fell behind 14-3 the other day at halftime, and, we weren't going to come back.
Yeah, the clock was running too fast.
Yeah, the clock's running, they're not stopping the clock, so, we were screwed.
When have they ever been known for their defense? And now you can't play offense?
Yeah, no, and they literally, their best player on the offense is their running back, and he got 3 carries, Ollie Gordon, 3 carries. That
sandwich stale and molded. It's time to change.
Funky.
At that point, you can't do work.
It's a shit sandwich, bro. It's a shit sandwich. That's all there is to it. It's a shit sandwich, and they're munching on it. But it's not going down as easy anymore. No, listen, I think that on top of apparently, and this just came out, but this just came out the other day. I guess right before the season started, there was a meeting with some of OSU's biggest boosters, their NIL collective, their main NIL collective folks, and then, of course, administration people. And Gundy shit all over the NIL. He shit all over the freaking transfer portal. He pulled
Dabo Sweeney 2.0.
A complete Dabo on the whole thing. And it was not what they wanted to hear from the boosters. It's not what they wanted to hear from the NIL collective. None of that. And so I think that, when you start seeing this, and then look, guys, it's simple. The people that have backed him all this time, it's just like that clown that was on Cody's show. They don't have anything to back it up. They're going to just attack you, right? They're just going to attack you and call you names and do stuff like that for not being a Gundy lover. Well, he wins. He's won more than anybody but Oklahoma in the last 10 years. He doesn't win. He was winning against teams like South Alabama or Central Michigan and they lost to Central Michigan a few years ago too in the non-con, right? They lost that game. They've lost games like this, but most of the time they win them. He's literally beaten 3 Power 5 non-conference games. He's won 3 Power 5 games against 3 non-conference games against Power 5 schools with a winning record. They were 8-5, 7-6, 3 of them in 18 years, right? 3 of them. He's against 10-win teams. He's 13-33 in his career, and he's 3-15 against Oklahoma. What coach do you know of anywhere at any school that would approach 3-15 against anyone? Because I don't. Shit.
It's like that's what really makes me have the
losing 3 in a row to freaking Florida, even winning the national championship.
Speaking of Florida, how about Tennessee losing to Florida, man? That was some ugly shit,
right?
Oh my god!
Listen, I'll tell you,
that wasn't shocking.
Not very good. It's not shocking to me either because the swamp is the swamp, bro.
And that trigger man, you always go back to the trigger man.
That guy ain't good either. Yeah, what'd you say? You told your drink up and he in the stands and he'll knock it out your hands because he won't hit it.
Standing in the stands with this right here, he'll mess around and knock this out my hand.
Way up in there. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, man. About Gundy and Dabo.
Yeah.
Dabo just happened to have more talent. He has a deeper cupboard. But I'm gonna say this right here. If you don't embrace, that's why you have to give a guy like Nick Saban, which I don't want to, but I am just have to give respect with. That's why you have to give a coach like that so much credit because he's so adaptable.
He's so
a guy
what?
like adaptable.
Oh, adaptable, yeah.
When a guy like Dabo and Gundy won't embrace NIL, who won't embrace the transfer portal, the game has passed you by. The game is no longer how you used to like it to be in the way that you win. You have a fundamental problem with the way that college football is being played and coached.
Then
it's time for you to leave.
Walk away. It's
time for you to leave.
Right. Absolutely, Shawty. I'm with you. And I just said this before. You remember how they talk about this all the time in the NFL, that you do not give players contracts based on what they've done. You give them contracts based on what they're about to do, on what they're going to do next. Their contract cannot be about what they've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that the opposite with coaches, you done fucked up too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have, because
it's
got to be about what are you doing now? If you're not adapting, I mean, when you look at Nick, hey, look, I'm not throwing Nick Saban under the freaking train and saying that it's over there. I'm not saying it. I think that this year they're going to struggle. They have some obvious issues at quarterback. I'm with you there. I'm still not sure that they don't find a way to figure it out. And if they can finally if they will take and let Milroe run the football and not put him in a position where he has to beat you with his arm, then you can still win because they still have that kind of talent, right? If I believe that anybody's going to figure that shit out, it's Nick Saban. But not everybody in this game is Nick Saban either. Look at Dabo. He doesn't want to adapt either.
Mm-hmm.
And when BV got to OU last year, he was trying to do that same thing. He was very they only got a couple of guys out of the portal, to be honest with you. And they needed a lot. Of course, after you go 6 and 7 and the fans are already restless, ready to kick your ass right out of here, and you got people that are saying, hey, he's not going to be a good head coach because he hasn't been one, so nobody knows. But he turned it around. He said, oh, we got to get in the portal and do it. And they got the collective together to pay them. Now I do believe that when it comes to the NIL, there has to be a balance there because you got to be careful what you pay freshmen coming in when you've got veterans that may not be making that much, right? But I think that you have to figure it out. You got to find a way to figure it out. And if you don't, then you might as well walk away. You don't need to be involved in it. Just like you just said, Shawty, but yeah, that's why I said the second that they gave him that revolving $7.5 million per year, 5-year, every year it renews contract, they screwed up huge with Gundy. Huge. Because now he's daring them, fire me. I'm going to get my buyout. I'm going to get my
Y'all do
buyout.
know the NIL has, almost turned college football into a salary cap league, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to understand is everybody got a salary cap. Now the goalpost moves, but everybody have a salary cap because you can't pay all 5-stars. You got to be able to get some money to 3 and 4 stars.
That's right. That's right. You have to figure it out.
People
don't
figure it out. It ain't as delicate as a lot of people think it is. Just money. You got a certain amount of money that you got to be able to pay and get enough players to fill your roster.
There's only a few schools like Texas and Texas A&M that can pay everybody, right? There's only even Bama can't pay people like that. They can't. So there's some schools can. I say Michigan is one of those schools. Ohio State doesn't have a problem with money. USC doesn't have a problem with money. Some schools do, and I don't know how much. I don't know the kind of money that Georgia has. I know they got something. They're not struggling, right? I mean, they shouldn't be. Clearly, they're getting
the roster. Look at the roster.
I'll give you that. But again, when you start looking at, but nobody has the money that A&M and Texas has. Nobody does. Notre Dame, maybe. But I don't know.
Look at what Texas A&M's doing. They can't develop talent. That's their issue.
That's why it has to be about more than just. It has to be about more than money. That's the whole thing. You have to find out how to balance paying guys versus bringing in the right guys. Because look, the one thing that NIL and transfer portal hasn't changed is that old saying that you recruit your own freaking problems.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And that's a big thing, guys. These guys have, and that's one thing I do give our head coach about.
Hell yeah.
Kirby. These guys have to be coachable. Mm-hmm. Every 5-star player and a good player. These guys got to be coachable.
He didn't give a shit about Bear leaving.
Right.
Didn't care. He's probably the best defensive lineman in the country if he's at Georgia. He's not at USC. Right.
He's an eye guy.
Yeah, all about me. All about me.
Yeah,
he's all about
he's an eye guy. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. These guys have to be coachable. Even though they 5-stars and they worth this money, they get this money. But if you're not,
Venables just said the same thing. Look, if we're gonna have issues with you in recruiting, we don't want you. Drama in recruiting means drama in the locker room. Drama. He said it. He's not going to deal with it. And there has to be a line. If you're just trying to buy up a team like Jimbo does, and they're doing it Texas A&M, throw money at it. Throwing money doesn't fix every problem, man. In fact, it'll exacerbate it. More money, more problems. There's a reason that's an old time saying. Everybody says it. You can screw it up. And if a kid is all about, even Coach Prime has said that. Look, if the kid is all about the money, the NIL money, then we don't want him.
Yeah,
we want kids that are about the NFL.
And that's why I like what Coach Prime was saying in terms of, these kids. Like, I understand getting paid to come out of high school, and some of them are worth it. That's for sure. But the fact is when Coach Prime said, "Look, none of these guys should be getting paid what the guys rookie are getting paid in the NFL." Because none of them are there yet. They need coached up first, and they actually need to prove something. So, a lot of these guys, if they're going straight up, hey, I want this much cash straight up, and unfortunately, sometimes it's not even the player; it's the family. It's the family.
True.
That's really where it starts.
But they had to have had somebody tell them that they could get that kind of money, or else they wouldn't be asking for that kind of money either, JJ.
But JJ, I got one objection to that. The only objection I have, and it's really not an objection, maybe it's a bad choice of words. But one thing I say is this right here. I'm only worth what the market say I am.
Yeah.
So if you give it to me, I'm clearly worth it.
Yeah.
So if I can get more than an NFL player or like Shador, he's getting $4.1 million. I mean, he's going to the opposite end of the spectrum, but look how much money he's generating. So I'm saying I'm only worth what the market say I am. So I don't want nobody putting no cap on what I should get and what I can't get. Are they going to do that when I get in the NFL?
Earn that money first. They weren't giving him that shit right off the bat.
Well, what I'm saying is, my point is, it don't matter what you give me off the bat. I'm only getting what somebody's going to give.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. So whether I'm a freshman or sophomore, it shouldn't matter.
I agree, man. Look, whatever it is, the main thing is if you can look, even the on three, they've got that thing where they tell you how much you're worth or whatever. Right now, they have Shador as number 1, and then they've got Arch Manning at number 2. Hell, Quinn Ewers is the starter, and he's at like number 11. Right?
His name should have been Manning.
Not only that, yeah, right, exactly. Not only that, shit, Arch isn't even the backup quarterback at freaking Texas. And that money is because of his name. Whether or not he ever gets an opportunity to start there, I mean, at some point you would expect that he would. I mean, you would hope that look, if you've been taught by the Manning family and you've got the measurables, his arm looked a little weak to me in the spring game, but it's just, he's a freshman and he hasn't played against this kind of talent either. So
he played against Holy Bible his whole career.
Right. Yeah. Just a 2A crappy school in Louisiana.
I was going to say he didn't play. Especially when you turn on the tape, he didn't play against a lot of great guys, man.
And they didn't win. They didn't win even.
Usually when you see a 5-star guy or like a 4-star guy in high school, they're dominating. They dominate the competition no matter what. It's a grown man versus boys is what it looks like out there. He didn't look like it. I mean, preferably me. I think when I watched him, I didn't think he was a 5-star or 4-star. I really thought he was a 3-star. I didn't understand a lot of the hype. Then again, some people agree with it, some people don't. I mean, when I watched it, I wasn't like,
Yeah. Hey, look at you taking over my show and putting sound effects out there, Shawty.
That was great because I felt the same way. I was so happy, to be honest. I don't want to say it. I shouldn't say it. But I was not disappointed when we didn't get him because the only reason I wanted was for the cachet of his name, because when I saw the film and tape, I didn't see anything either. Yeah. It was just all about his name and possibly bringing in other 5-star recruits.
Sure. And they did do that. I'll give you that part. And that's the reason that they wanted to make sure, and they spent a shit ton of money that weekend that he went to Texas last to get him there. But they also got 2 other 5-star guys to come in at that same time, right? He got the receiver, what's his name from 5-star kid from Texas. He's good, really good, right? Mm-hmm. He's already starting right now. And then CJ Baxter, I think, was pretty much because of that as well, the number 1 running back in the country also. So it was worth it, whether or not he ever plays it down. And I think that, I like what Mike said here. I predict that Arch will be the next Chris Sims if he stays at Texas. That could be. Because if they push him out in front of our boy here, the guy that nobody
Texas got the best backup quarterback position in the world. They've been
bro. Woo. He's so good, man. He's so good. I really hope that he remains the backup and doesn't play, because I'll tell you, as a non-Texas fan, you start looking at Malik, that dude, 6'5", 230. Big arm, runs a sub 4.40. Scary good. Yeah, scary good.
Hey, I tell you what, if they try to pull that with Manning, can you say portal?
Oh, I'm surprised. I was surprised that he didn't get jumpy this year. Now, obviously, they paid him. They had to, because I know Florida was heavy wanting him. Along with there were some other schools that would have Alabama would have gladly taken him, I'm sure. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that you would have gladly taken this cat because he looked that good. He could throw the ball, he could run. He's what none of the Alabama quarterbacks have is one or the other. They're one or the other. They can either throw or they can run, but they can't do both. And with what we saw with Ty, what's his name? That I thought would have been the backup to begin with. He was a 5-star, but he can't move, and that offensive line doesn't move very well at Alabama. They're big, but they're not moving much.
Yeah, they're having issues up front, that's for sure.
Their pass defense, their pass blocking is what's hurting them. They can run block, but they're not running the ball. And I think a lot of that goes to Tommy Rees. That's the other reason I think that we were talking about Notre Dame, Ohio State this week. The reason that I think that Notre Dame probably has a big chance to win, they no longer have Tommy Rees. They have a real quarterback, and And they, look, they don't even have to rely on this quarterback to win for them. They've got probably the best running back in the country.
And it's the first time in a long time Ohio State has not had the best trigger man coming into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
it's
just
a shame too.
Settled on the guy, right?
Yeah, it is a shame too because they have their wide receiver room. I mean, it's unreal, but they have nobody to throw it to them, and it's certainly showing. It's certainly showing now.
Yeah, well, they ended up looking pretty good last week, 60, but they played nobody.
Yeah, who did they face?
I don't even remember who the hell.
66.
So it was probably Youngstown State is who I think it was.
Ball State or something, or somebody like that. It was somebody nobody. But in the end, you start looking back at it. I mean, look, I don't know how you haven't won already there, and they haven't been able to put on a defense that could stop anything.
Nope.
I mean, their one chance was, and I really thought this last year was. I mean, it was pretty clear to me they were the only team that was going to match up worth a damn to UGA in the playoff. That was in the playoff because of the fact that what they could do. And had it been an outdoor game, there ain't no way they even do that, right? But you put them inside on the turf where, speed is going to help you. Yeah, they got a chance to beat you. That's when you saw what a gamer, your boy was at quarterback. And that's what we don't know what this kid is at UGA now. Plus, it's hard, man. When you've already won two, it's like you and Coach I have been saying. When you've already won two of them, it's hard to make these kids believe that they're not that damn good.
But I say this too, man. And I talked about this on the show tonight. I really think that the attrition from the NFL is starting to show because we have a lot of good players, 4 and 5 good players.
Yeah,
but we don't lost a lot of special players.
Mm-hmm.
These kids haven't had time to become special, and for the first time in the past 2 years, I can look at my schedule and say, we can lose 2 games. And that's because we don't have those special players at this particular moment right now.
Right.
All the special players, they lining up in the NFL right now. First year, second year, third year players, they lining up playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we don't currently have. So our error for margin is going to be a lot tighter. I can see us winning all our games, but it's going to be ugly. We'll have some ugly games.
This is a good question here, Lori. J.A. and Murphy. Who's better? Jackson Arnold or Murphy? That's a good question. Jackson Arnold's a stud. He's going to be a stud. I also think that Malik is going to be a stud. That's a damn good question.
Now, the P's got to add up. And what I mean by my P's is the play and potential got to add up. If your P's don't add up, it don't matter.
No doubt. Here's the thing. I think that Jackson throws better. I think that obviously Malik runs better. I don't know. I'd love to say Jackson Arnold, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure, man. And I'll tell you, I'm fine with Jackson Arnold first and foremost. I think he fits what they're doing at Oklahoma. Fine, right? I'm not worried. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I would take Malik over him, but I'm not sure that Malik.
I don't know what you're saying there, Jay. It sounds like you bet.
I'm hedging. I don't know what the hell to say.
That potential got to add up to play. If it don't add up to play, man, it don't even matter.
I think that Jackson is better at this point of his career because you got to remember that Malik, this is his second year in college. And he didn't look ready last year at all. I don't know that Jackson's necessarily ready, but he's more ready at this point than I think Malik was a year ago. I do think that. Now, what does that mean? I don't know, because I'm telling you, Malik is that kind of athlete. To me, he is. If you start looking at quarterbacks at Texas, you got to go all the way back to Vince to find one that's probably better than this guy as far as athletically gifted. Now, just like you said, potential-wise, you got to add that all up and you got to reach it. But what I would say is that Sark has a track record of making quarterbacks good. He's worked with really good quarterbacks, at least at the collegiate level, right? What he got out of, I mean, hell, who thought Matt Jones was good before he took over?
System wise, though, I just thought he was a system quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, he went in the damn first round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, Sark does a good job, but I also think that Jeff Levy does a good job. I think that Jeff's doing a good job with what they're doing as far as building quarterbacks and getting them ready to go. I think that Jackson fits perfectly for what they want to do. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't work out well if you have Malik Murphy too. I'm just saying we're going to find out. You know, I don't know. Maybe Jackson's better. Maybe he's not. Hey, guys, don't take it wrong that you asked the question. I'm telling you, I don't know who. I think that Jackson was better. I think that Jackson is better at this time in his career, but I don't know that he's better overall. And I don't think that he's a better athlete. I just don't. I don't think he's a better athlete.
I prefer 3-star hotels to 5-star
You
breakfast.
get my ass in trouble with that damn question, by the way, Lord. Thanks.
Good question. JJ, what's up with the ACC, man? Are you guys out of it?
What do you mean?
Like, how do you see that shaking up? Do you think you guys still? Because I had you guys in the thick of it, to be honest. You know what I mean? And it's just one game.
So did I, man. I mean, it's at the end of the day, I would say this. If they make a quarterback change to what I think Christian Veilleux can be, just from seeing him between a couple games where he's been able to come in and scrap up time, he certainly has an arm. He proved it at Penn State he can play. I just thought Drew Aller was just a little bit better. I mean, he's a 5-star kid. He was damn good. I want to see what he can do. The defense is certainly there. So every game we're going to be in regardless. It's going to be a close game every single time. That's just what it is. But if they don't change the quarterback, then no, I'd say we're out of it. But at this point, I mean, just the ACC overall as a conference this year, man, this is probably not one of the years that you wanted to have an issue with quarterback because there are a lot of damn good teams in this league this year. And they're showing it this year. It's a tough league. So if they make a change of quarterback and they can score some points and I'm not even talking about like 35 points a game. I'm talking about like 30, like 20, like 25 to 30 with our defense. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just give me something. Just give me something to prey on. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we'll see what they do, but there's a lot to work on offense right now. And I'm not a big fan of the offensive coordinator, you know what I mean? And Frank Cincinatti, he did okay last year, but Frank Slovis wasn't that great last year, but at least he did it. He was at least average. We got 9 wins. We got 9 wins with him. So you can't complain at him. This kid, if it doesn't change, then I don't see us getting back into it. It's that simple. But if the change made and they make some corrections.
On the next thing I was coming at you with was, is he gonna is Coach hanging around, or is he gonna end up at Michigan State?
Oh, I know he's gonna get. I know he's gonna get. He's gonna get a call. I mean, he got a call last time. I heard about it last time. The only thing that didn't scare me last time, to be quite honest with you, was that because Mark D'Antonio really wasn't involved. Now he's really involved in this one, I was told. And I have a friend of mine that coaches on the staff up there in terms of the recruiting department. He's going to be involved in who's getting hired up there because now Michigan State at this point, they can't get out of their own way with scandals.
Yeah, they got to be in shambles. Why is what does Dan Antonio got to do with that?
Dude, I mean, he was there for how many years? I mean, he's the only one that's really had besides when Saban was there.
He's the only guy that's had success. Who
else had success?
Well,
that's how some of these schools roll, dude. It's bringing these old school guys back, and who do you think we should go with? And then they're involved, and you get boosters involved. That's why I was jumping Texas for how many years? I think Texas could easily be in contention every year, but their boosters are so involved.
What's the AD there for?
Brother, some of these schools, man.
But they didn't listen to him this last time around. Hired Mel and got him in deep shit.
Yeah,
gave him all that money. Now apparently, I guess they're not going to have to pay him all that money because of this shit.
Mel's fighting that now. Him and his lawyer, they fighting it.
Oh hell, hey, better
he's fighting it. But let me tell you something. He had the nickname. He had the nickname Midnight Mel for a reason. I can tell you this. There are some stories I've heard about him. There are some stories. There are some stories.
There's a good coach for Okie Light, Midnight Mel.
I can believe it. I actually would like to hear some of those.
Oh, let me tell you something. I can't say it on. I won't say it on here.
No, I
but
get it.
oh man, I've got some friends on that staff up there. And here's what's really funny. I knew about all this.
Midnight Mail.
I knew about all this happening 6
See
months
it in
ago.
his eyes, man.
6 months ago. I knew about this all 6 months ago. And I didn't know if it was going to come out or what was being said. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, I heard this come out. And I go, son of a bitch. That guy told me it was going to happen. I mean, he's been separated for a while from his wife. But, I mean, this isn't just Michigan State either. They've
been knowing about it for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, brother, to be honest with you, this started at Colorado. I mean, he was I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a player, dude. He can do it. He can pull. I mean, dude.
Now that changes things. You moved the goalpost, man.
When I tell you some of the stories I got here, man, when I heard some of this stuff, I just remember my jaw just dropped to the floor, and I said, can I ever talk about any of this stuff? And they go, not on camera.
Guys think they could get away from, right? It's wild that
they just don't they step on themselves, man. I mean, some of these guys, man, they just think, and it's a shame because he started off really good that first year, man. He brought Michigan State back, won 11 games that year, went to the New Year's Six Bowl.
Well, they started off 2-0 this year. It seemed like he got them back on track.
Yeah. Dude, he can recruit.
We'll take Brendan Tracy for sure. Cowpoke Ranch says we'll take Brendan Tracy for sure. Nice. Well done. Well played, Cowpoke. I like it. Was the fan base too hard on Ted Roof last year? Probably a bit. Yeah, probably a bit.
Oh, this reminds me of this question. And I know, Jason, this is gonna stir up the Oklahoma fans. Okay.
Oh, good. Here we go. Bring it on.
Did you see the story today with Lincoln Riley?
Mm-hmm.
He banned a reporter because a reporter asked a player a question outside of media, so he banned him.
You know
what
what
an absolute piece of shit.
the question was about too? You know what the question was? He was trying to do a feature. As a reporter, let me tell you how this works. When you're trying to do a feature story, you don't freaking do it from press conferences. You go talk to kids where you can, right? You away from everybody else. That way you can get them to open up. Because a lot of things, if you're trying to gain
access, Jason?
Huh?
But I mean, not to cut you off, but do you have to gain access first? Is there
sure, and he's new.
So he broke protocol.
Here's what I would tell you though about that. We're talking about a reporter that is from, I believe, the Orange County Register, which is one of the big newspapers in Southern California covering them. This is not some little dinky ass paper that you don't need to be over here, right? This is a real big deal publication. In fact, it's a network of publications. The Orange County Register being their biggest paper. Okay. This guy is not just some clown that they did this to. There's some new guy that, not trustworthy. He's young, but he's clearly one of these up and comer good reporters because they're backing him up big time. Okay. They're backing him up big time.
The paper?
Yeah, the paper, and a lot of people are.
And I just loved his response. He says, we felt it went far enough and we needed to act. I just needed to protect my players. First off, the questions were shown what he asked.
Yeah.
There was nothing in terms of what the play calling was, anything with the team.
What it is?
No.
God forbid anybody finds out how shady your ass is, Lincoln. That's what the fuck that's about.
But it might just be about the access and not following protocol. It ain't got nothing to do with the question. You didn't follow proper protocol. I mean, if you do it, anybody else will start.
Yeah, okay. But here's the thing: is if they have this newspaper has clearly
pushed the envelope to an extent before.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this paper has built up some level of trust with the university. Now, not to say that they've necessarily built up any kind of trust with Lincoln and them, because Lincoln and them don't trust anybody but people that are going to softball. Like, what's his name that freaking did the interview last week, or that we saw last week, where Lincoln was accusing everybody at Oklahoma of breaking into his house, even though there's nothing in the records about that ever being reported.
Yeah.
multiple times. And supposedly
that was like
people
years ago, right?
Yeah,
2 years ago, whenever he quit, and that he was getting death threats, and that people were getting his daughter's cell phone. They got this and blah blah blah. All this shit that he throws out there up against the wall, but doesn't have any proof of, and didn't report it to the cops.
Yeah, that's a number one red flag, because if someone's contacting your family and doxing your family, you're doing something.
The other thing is that the only time that they called was about a suspicious vehicle that was in their gated community, by the way. Nobody was going to let anybody get to Lincoln and his damn family. And his wife apparently wasn't worried about it. Lincoln was.
Yeah. And but what gets me, though, is Lincoln Riley, of all people, is going to talk about the roles. Really? I mean, really? Are we gonna really talk about the roles? I mean, like, come on. I mean, look.
Continue.
One of his, he goes to a restaurant and he gets a. I don't know if you know his restaurant in USC. I don't know if did you see that his new restaurant. It's on the middle of Bullshit Avenue. I mean, he's right there, right in the middle of it. He's got a good restaurant that's there, and obviously he's got a huge buffet. It's called Full of Shit. I mean, literally, that guy is so full of shit.
Do you understand, like, what kind of pull you have to have? You literally haven't been there even a year yet. You have a restaurant. All the licensing and codes and everything, you got to bypass. Like, it must be nice.
Yeah.
It really must be nice.
No doubt. And that's the whole thing, is that, like, he's full of crap. Look, he lied all his way. He lied his ass off all the way out of Oklahoma. Look, he had decided on taking that job long before. That's the longest freaking sound effect ever. He lied about that job and taking that job. He had decided on it, at least from what I can tell, by like Iowa State that year, which was pre Red River game, right?
They're not tampered.
Huh?
They're not tampered.
Yes, yeah, he tampered, dude. There was one player that went completely on the record. He told it to reporters and stuff. From what I know, from what I heard, the coaches said this, and players that ended up coming to Oklahoma, or maybe they didn't, but they talked to the Oklahoma coaches. They were recruiting for SC before taking the job at SC. That all year they were recruiting for SC.
What's his face got in trouble? The assistant coach who got hired there too. He got in trouble for it too. They found out about it.
Right.
I mean,
well, yeah, that was the one that got out that it went to the reporters about it.
I think a player leaked it. Some player said something, and it caught wind everywhere.
Right. Yeah, and so the whole thing is, and on top of that, then he's gone over and over. He's made constant, everybody likes to talk about how all the USC fans are, oh, you guys can't get over it. We just, let it go. You're just pissed off and still a lot of sour grapes from Oklahoma fans. The sour grapes are because he's a scumbag and he pulled a bunch of shady shit. Believe me, there's not a fan in this fan base that gives a flying fuck that he's at a USC. They're glad that he's not at Oklahoma anymore. Hell, they were never going to win in the SEC without having a defense. And we see what kind of defense they have at USC right now. It isn't one. There's all that.
I can say this. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they would get smacked by Georgia, Tennessee, and hell, I'd even put, even for how bad Alabama's offense has been, their defense is at least
still beat the shit out of you every year. And that's the thing. You're going to beat some of those teams because of the way that offense is, and you're going to get good quarterbacks. But you would be just about what Mike Leach is. And this is where he came from, was Mike Leach. And I love Mike to death. I covered Mike whenever I covered Texas Tech. Mike Leach was a good dude, good friend of mine. He was a little full of shit himself, though. We can be honest about it. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great offensive coach, but he had no fucking clue, nor did he care about putting a defense on the field.
Yeah.
He didn't.
That's the wrong mentality.
It's the same mentality that they all got. And folks, don't get pissed at me for saying this, Hype included. Hype is the same way. Josh Heupel is not putting a defense on the field at Tennessee either.
Yeah. He's getting caught up in that. I know. It's.
He's not doing it, and he may do it before anybody else does because he's in the SEC, and eventually it's going to smack you in the face that's what's got to happen. But bro, it's not any different. Heupel doesn't give two shits about that. He believes that he can put an offense on the field that can, and this is the same belief that Lincoln has, that they can put an offense on the field that can negate that they can outscore anybody. And Shawty, you're a freaking receiver, and you know better. You play
from the inside out. You have to be from the inside out. Almost like basketball in the SEC. You want to go big, then skill position. You don't want to go skill position first. That's one thing I say, and that's why I say, like, any good coach, their team is going to take on their personality. So if you have a defensive coordinator, he's a good coach. Your defense is nothing else going to be solid first. Then you're going to get offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Then you go to skill. Because at the end of the day, especially in college, not so much NFL, you don't necessarily have to have a great quarterback. It's cool. It looked pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It looked pretty.
Mm-hmm.
When you get deep down in there, you got to have them guys in the trenches.
Damn right. How many freaking Heisman winners have lost the damn championships before the freaking playoff even got here? Heisman winners got their ass kicked all the time in championship games.
Jason, actually, that's a trivia question I might ask tomorrow. When was the last Heisman winner on the national championship?
Yeah.
Well, it would have been your receiver from Alabama.
Slim.
And then did Mark Ingram, they won it too, right?
Yeah, Mark Ingram. Yeah, so it would have been Bama and Smith. Any last name Smith?
Yeah, Devontae. Yep. Devontae. But okay, but hold on though. Before that though, think about it though. And we can talk about this a lot because think Jason White won the Heisman that year. He didn't win it. Heupel didn't win it. They won the national championship. He didn't win it. But you think I remember going all the way back to like Gino Torretta. Guys like Gino Torretta, he won the Heisman. They got the shit kicked out of them by Alabama that year.
I guess Tebow. Yeah, there's good questions.
Or Penn State. Somebody. I don't remember. I think it was Alabama, right?
Young didn't win it.
I'd say there's a good couple comments that Tim Tebow, Joe Burrow. I guess you could put them in there. Burrow. I forgot about him.
Okay. Yeah, Joe Burrow was the man though.
Dude, that team, I'll tell you what. They may have been a one-year wonder.
LSU team, they were nasty everywhere. Whoo! Defense and offense, they were number one at both.
Bama come back next year and have an even better offense statistically.
Mm-hmm. What about Matt Leinart? What about him?
What one? Did he win the Heisman and win a national title?
Oh, he won the Heisman and won the national. Yeah, they had a defense too, bud. Are you getting what we're talking about here, Big Gumbo? Are you going to come in here talking your smack again about Lincoln? Because nobody wants to hear it here. Shit.
Coming in here pissing you off.
I can't stand these freaking SC fans, bro. I can't stand SC fans. I just can't. They come in here talking about like we don't know what the hell we're talking about that clown. Nick and Riley. We do.
Who we thought they were?
Nope. Yeah. Who I thought they were. I don't think they're gonna do shit. I don't. I haven't thought that.
I told that
the Bush
push.
Man,
he got too much film up under his belt to play the way he play. He just scared. He do things that like no third-year starter.
Yeah, dude. And here's the thing: Jordan Travis hadn't made it through a season yet without getting hurt.
Yeah,
he hasn't.
What
do they got behind him? Yeah. Okay. Look, you're right. There's been some that have, but there's also been a lot that haven't. Now, I don't think we were saying that it never happens. I was more saying that winning the Heisman doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do it all the time. But you think about that Florida State team. You think about those Alabama quarterbacks that did it. You think about Matt Leinart. That defense. Pete Carroll was a defensive coach. They were damn good on offense because they had Lane Kiffin and Sark And, you know, they had it figured out on that offensive side. They had Reggie Bush, Lindell White. I mean, yeah, they were nasty. But the best part of that football team was their defense. It was their defense. They also had Carson Palmer the year before that. Right? I mean, they were nasty.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't
a really
for
good
that
run
defense, they weren't winning shit. You know, plain and simple. Yeah, Leinart's natty was because of Bush. Yeah,
Caleb got a hard road. No matter how they want to look at it, they got a very hard road. That schedule.
They're not going to win it. They're going to lose 4 games at least, Shawty, man. They're going to get beat by Notre Dame.
You give them 4 losses?
I'm giving them 4, man. They're going to get beat by Notre Dame. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. I'll just put it here this way. Look, the last half of their schedule, you go look at the last. In fact, let me pull up their schedule, man.
I was going to say, because I want to see when Travis Hunter gets back, because if he's back in time,
they got him in 2 weeks against Arizona State, I think.
Is it this? So which 2 games has he missed? Who the 2 teams that they're facing that he's going to miss? Because, dude, I'm going to miss seeing that kid play. He's a stud. That kid is a fucking stud.
Travis Hunter? Yeah, that'll be 2 weeks from now. So
I'm going to be honest with you. If he have a chance to come back against, like, Arizona State or somebody like that, I don't know if I put him out there 1 extra. Just make sure he helps. Yeah, only put him out there when he's ready to go. Because at this point, if they can just save it to where they can just win these next like a couple games, keep yourself in there, dude. Make sure he's healthy. Don't play against any of these teams you know you're going to beat. Shedeur Sanders can handle that. This run game can handle that.
Right.
Hold him out.
All right. So you've got.
So wait.
Look at the schedule, bro. Look at this schedule. It's not no bullshit. Think about it. So they've got. I mean, look. I don't know that they lose. I don't think they probably lose this game, but they could because it's on the road. They got to deal with altitude. And if anything that Colorado can do, it's freaking put up points, right? We know that USC can't stop anybody either. I'll give SC that one. Okay, I'll give SC that one.
Yeah, wait a second. Arizona. Does that say 10 a.m.? Is that game at 10 a.m. Eastern time?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be shitting me.
They just played last week, 10 a.m. Oh, you said 10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
That'll be the big noon game.
So you're gonna put USC and Colorado on at 10 a.m. on big noon kickoff? You gotta be shitting me. What are we doing?
That's what they're doing. That's what they like to do on Fox. That's their time that matters to them is that noon kickoff time. Yeah. All the teams hate it, but they love it. Yep. I don't know. SC, imagine. Here's the look at this though. They go to Arizona, then they got Notre Dame on the road. They've got Utah at home, but they've yet to beat Utah with Lincoln.
Let's do this, Jason. Okay, so go back to the first game. Let's do it like Vegas. So every game they win is a win. Every loss is a loss, and a baby is a half.
Okay.
So the first game we gave them a W
against Arizona State. Yeah, they're gonna beat them.
All right. So what's the next game we got?
Then at Colorado.
Is that a half or straight out?
I think it's a half, really. I think that they could win. They could lose the game.
Win.
But I would think that they win. I think that they win.
Okay.
More than likely. But then again, would I be super surprised if they lost? No. All right. Then Arizona.
You got to count the fence. You got to go one way or other. Lost.
Okay, fine. I'm that's not one of the ones that I've picked for them to lose.
So that's a W?
Sure. I'll pick them to win.
We got 2 wins.
Okay. Then they're gonna have Arizona. They're gonna win that.
That's a win.
They're gonna lose on the road at Notre Dame. Until they beat
I'm gonna go ahead.
They're gonna get beat at Notre Dame. Notre Dame can play defense and they can't.
What you got, JJ? What you think?
Yeah, I got Utah. I got Utah winning that game at USC.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Then yeah. I would have. I think just what's going to help them out is it being at home. And I think they can play defense. And if Sam Hartman, we'll see this weekend against Ohio State if he's for real or not. We'll know by this weekend if he's for real. So if he's for real, then I got Notre Dame winning that game.
Okay. Then Utah. I mean, until they beat Utah, I'm not picking.
I got Utah.
I'll fucking win.
had lost to Utah.
Yeah, that's a loss. So there's 2 for me. There's already 2. Of course, they're going to beat Cal.
Yeah.
Hey, Washington.
I got Washington winning that
State
game.
Doesn't have the best. Yeah. If Ohio State doesn't have the best receiving room, Washington does.
I have Washington winning that game.
And Penix is a bad cat.
Yeah.
Too. So Washington, I think they lose that one. Look,
they beat Oregon. I think, because they got to prove it.
Okay, maybe.
So what you got to have, Jason?
But it's at Oregon. I've got to have there. Maybe. I don't know. But I mean, they beat UCLA by 1 last year. Yeah, I figured they probably beat UCLA.
Yeah, I got them beating them too.
But I have them beat. I really don't think that they beat either. I think that they'll beat either Washington or Oregon, and I probably lean more towards they beat Oregon, lose to Washington. I've got them losing to Utah.
I'm trying to keep score here.
Okay.
What was the? I got the last 3 wins on a wet game. Everybody had a win for the last.
Okay, so at Utah's a loss. Then they're going to beat Cal. Then me and JJ have them losing to Washington.
I had that a half, so y'all both had 2 L's.
Okay. Oregon, that'd be another half, if anything. I mean, I could see you doing that on a half there, but that's a loss. And that's 1 of 2. That's who I think that they would either. I could see them losing to Oregon too, because Dan Lanning's going to put a defense out there. I don't really trust Bo Nix that much, but I don't. He doesn't. It's not like he's going to go up against the best defense in the world either. This isn't an SEC defense that he's about to face. So I mean, he's been good otherwise. I could see them losing that game too.
You sure
I mean, so we
have what? Notre Dame, Utah, Washington, and then you have what? You'll have Oregon. It's a 4th one. So I guess technically, man, this Buffalo game, I just think, dude, that's gonna be a game with Deion Sanders, man. I don't know.
I'll
put that as a loss. I'm putting that as a loss, man.
Whether or not they lose, I don't know which one for sure that they lose. Shawty, here's the deal. I don't know which ones for sure that they lose, but I'm telling you that out of those games, Colorado, Notre Dame, Utah, UW, Oregon, and even UCLA, that's a freaking rivalry game. They're going to lose 4 of them.
I had them at 3 losses. Y'all clearly got them at 4.
Yeah, I got them at 4.
I think the 3 that I have for sure is that Notre Dame, Utah, Washington. I think they all 3 of them,
but
all 3 of them have good quarterbacks.
Equal a loss, JJ.
Huh?
If you have 2 half games, that equals a loss.
Oh, good point. Yep, you're right. Yo, what's up, Coach?
Hop in, Coach. I just sent the link out. What up? Hey,
I didn't realize that until I looked at their schedule, man. Y'all made some good points.
Look, it's in the end, and look, okay, could I see them only losing 3? Sure, but they're not winning the Pac-12 and going to the playoff that way.
Yeah. This is so funny. I can't help but laugh.
Look like Washington gonna win the Pac-12.
I think Washington.
Yeah, they're dogs, man.
Hey, my dark horse is Oregon State, man. I like DJU, and they were already damn good without a good quarterback. And they don't have to play SC, although they lost by 6 to SC last year without a quarterback. I mean, I think Oregon's going to have a lot to say about that. I think that Utah's going to have a lot to say about it, though. I think that the only thing
just well coached, man.
Is that they could do like what they did last year and kind of cannibalize themselves, right?
Yeah,
I do think so. But I think that there's, Coach, I was talking about it earlier in the a couple of weeks back that he felt like there was 4 or 5 teams that could win that league, right?
Yeah, I just love how Utah's coached.
I don't really think that Colorado is one of those teams yet, but I think that they have a quarterback that can put you in every game, right? Are you going to win them all? Probably not, man. I mean, they're probably not good enough on defense or in the trenches to beat all of those teams, but I don't know how great you have to be in the trenches to win those games. I think the Utah game, you got to be really good there. And I think that, hey, thanks, Neelio. I appreciate that.
How you pronounce that, Jason?
Neelio.
Neely.
He's our boy, Neelio. Yeah, he's from KC Mo.
That is a great segue right there, too, for all the people in the channel right now. If you have not liked the channel today, do so. Hey, and as they say in the old country, don't be a hoe, share the show. That's all we're asking.
I think Washington is the best team. I think Utah is definitely the best coached team. I think USC probably the most athletic.
Yeah.
I mean, USC.
Yeah.
Y'all guys don't turn me over to Utah, man. I wasn't a big fan of them, but y'all guys have definitely. I look at them a lot more, man. They're a very, very well coached team.
They're very well coached, man, and look, they play defense like for real. That's the thing with them is they play defense, and look, they don't. I think that I think Coach I was talking about it. He kind of compared them to the way that they're built similarly to what you see Georgia, where they play good offense too, but they're going to start on defense. They're going to be big in the trenches, and they're going to play smart football. They're not going to get out there and try to just go outscore everybody, right? Yeah, K-State fan and proud of them. Hey, man, what a game last week. I was pretty surprised about that Mizzou thing, but I think they probably bounce back and blow out. Who do they got this week? It's we need to look at that. Anyway, man, I don't know what's going to happen. To be honest with you, we're going to wait and see. But I would tell you that nothing would surprise. If they lose, it'll definitely be more than 2. They're going to definitely lose. Because here's the thing. They've already struggled just with the teams that they've played. I mean, hell, Nevada had more freaking yards and scoring on them than they had on like Montana or whoever, some crappy FCS team. Nevada had more offensive production against them. Look, Caleb Williams is definitely the best. To me, he's the best player in the country. Maybe Travis Hunter. As far as Travis Hunter's a stud, but I think Caleb Williams is the best football player in the country.
I vote for the Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Yeah, I like Brock Bowers too. He's good. But I'm just saying Caleb is a stud, man. But he's been running for his life already, and they haven't even played anybody yet.
But Jason, what about the quarterback at Washington? That lefty is
Michael Penix.
What?
Bro, he's nasty.
That thing just look different the way it spin off that left hand. It just looks different.
It does look different. Yeah. Hey, man, we got a lefty in the OU too. He's getting it done as well. They're lighting it up. And
it's measurable.
And again, DJU's been lighting it up, man. Since he got to Oregon, he's looked really, really good. Again, I think that was all. You guys said it a bunch. Clemson hasn't had good receivers in a couple of years. They haven't had near what they had before. JJ, you were on the show that night when Big Dave was on.
Yeah.
And Big Dave, he was like, look, they didn't have the freaking weapons that, they wanted these guys. They want these guys to go in and be freaking Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, and they don't have the weapons that they had.
Yeah, did you see his tweet made ESPN too? I don't know if you saw that. Made ESPN college football about how you got to quit blaming the players and start embracing NIL. Man, he made
and
national
the
news
system
of that.
Antiquated. The offensive system they run is right about it.
Yep.
Come on.
Hey, Connor, man, I've been saying it a lot, brother. I've said it a lot. We like and Big Dave is a friend of the program, so I'm giving love to them. I honestly think that DJU is the man. I think that there's a reason he was the number 1 quarterback in the country. And when he played with those guys, just like Big Dave said on the show, when he came in for Trevor and played at Notre Dame, he broke the record for opposing quarterbacks passing touchdowns and yardage. As a freshman, true freshman. comes in, he passes for like 370, 3 touchdowns, no picks. They win the game. First start. When he got in that year, and they won the national championship that year. Or no, they didn't. That was their.
How dare you?
That was the year that they lost in the championship game to LSU. But
They used the kid wrong.
He kept them in the hunt though to get into the playoffs still when Trevor went down. So It is what it is, man. So to me, it hadn't been about that, and it's just like what we talked about before. When you start looking at Dabo and Mike Gundy, their failure to evolve is what's hurting them. And the same is true for Lincoln Riley. Look, we know you know how to draw it up, bud. We get it. We know you know how to scheme up and get anybody open, and you are the quarterback whisperer. We understand that.
Yeah.
We understand that. But it hasn't equated to shit yet.
Because he don't know how to go get the dogs up front. That's the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And when he left Oklahoma, he blamed that on being in Norman, that you can't recruit, elite talent to Oklahoma, particularly on defense, he says. He couldn't. I don't know.
You remember me saying earlier, like I said, when you have, like most coaches, when you have good coaches, their teams generally take on the personality of their head coach. Think about it. Lincoln Riley is an offensive guy. So that's where all his focus go into skill, quarterback, receiver, and running. Like that's where his focus is. He's gonna always get the best of those types of players. So that means you have to go hire coaches who know how to recruit dogs. What I mean by that, big offensive line, big athletic people.
Is Jason saying Mary Kay Caleb in here? Did you just call him Mary Kay Caleb? That's pretty funny. Because of his nails, he's always doing his nails. That's funny shit.
Okay.
That's funny shit. Lord,
put it together now, I guess.
I had to put that together too. It was like, what do you mean? Oh, I like it. Yeah. BV did a 180 on the NIL portal and it's showing. No, exactly. That's what I was just saying earlier, Private Key. Hey, when it came down to it, until he figured it out, they were in trouble, man. But he also knew, but hey, when you're coaching, this is your first head coaching job and probably going to be your damn last. If you don't figure it out, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because BV, look, he didn't take the road that most coaches have to go through. He was a coordinator, stayed a coordinator for all those years. He didn't take a lot of jobs that Auburn wanted to hire him a couple of years ago when they hired, what's his name that they just fired last year. There's been a few jobs. He turned down K-State twice, Yeah. So, but when you take this is your first head coaching job. If you fail, you're fucked. It's over. You go right back to being a coordinator and you're done.
And that's what I'm going to go ahead and say, because I'm on record saying in 3 years, he's going to be somebody else DC. So
I know you're on record saying that, bro. I've kept that receipt. You got
to tell me. I'm going to go ahead and put it back out there. But I will say, just real talk, keep it 100, I'm surprised. As of right now, I'm surprised because I just felt like my problem with him is I wanted Oklahoma ain't never had a problem with offense.
No. But they're not going to have a problem with defense now.
But that's my whole point. That's what I'm getting at, is because I didn't see the immediate change, which is part of me just being impatient. I don't know how you're a defensive coordinator and you're in a pass league and you can't play defense. And I didn't see that.
They were that bad. That's how bad it was because of Lincoln and them leaving, though. That's what I was trying to tell y'all that night. That it's easy to look at it. look, and I get it. You look at your program that you care about deep. You know more about Georgia than I'll ever know, right? I mean, as much as I know about Georgia because I cover everything and always, you know what I mean? I pay attention deeper than a lot of people do a lot of other stuff. But when it comes to Oklahoma, I could tell you a hell of a lot more than I could tell you about Georgia by a lot. And that goes for everybody in this audience too. We get it because we've watched this thing be what it was. The year that Stoops left, they could have won the national championship then, but that's when they lost to Georgia in the Rose Bowl. Right? They had that game. He gagged it up, but they still had the big boys still then because that was the dudes that were left. That was the best team they had that he had. That was his best team at Oklahoma, his best opportunity to win it. I feel the same way about USC. Their best chance to win was last year. What they had left over, they were big.
You guys? Like, what's successful in terms of, and what I say about that, what I mean might be twofold. What is successful and not at the point of underachieving, but successful? Because there's levels to this, right?
Yeah,
You're not expecting him just to go win a national championship. Right?
Oh, we were. It was time to win it. It was time to win it. Look, they had been in national championship games. They had been in the playoff already, right? They got beat up. Hey, BV beat the crap out of them.
But y'all haven't made a play
4 times.
Yeah, y'all played us in the last one with the semifinal when we played you guys, right?
That was the last one. They went the next 2 years and got the shit kicked out of them both times.
In the semis?
So they played the next year. They with Kyler Murray, they went up against Alabama, and it was over at halftime pretty much. They kind of made a comeback, but not much of one. Then the year after that with Jalen, they had to go up against that LSU juggernaut.
So successful is definitely national championship. So, but with this saying, so you got to make the semis for it not to.
Yeah, listen, I think that getting to the here's the thing that I would say, and this is what I don't know how many people agree with me on this and don't, but this is my feeling on it. The Big 12 getting to the playoff all those years that he got there, he did 3 of them as a head coach. He was the head coach, right?
He as in
Lincoln.
Gotcha.
But this is at a time that the Big 12 was at its weakest. Texas has been shitty, right? We already talked. Okie Light is a freaking dumpster fire. They don't win shit. They don't. They don't win nothing. If they get up in a game that matters, they gag every time. This is how it is.
Yeah.
Texas was trash. The best team other than that has been Baylor. TCU sometimes, right? So they won 6 conference championships in a row. That's cool and all. Look, but what did that do? Here's what that did. That masked a lot of shit that wasn't great. It masked a lot of exactly. Look, when you win 6 in a row like that, it masks a lot of problems within your program because it looks a lot better than it is. Other than that Georgia game, Shotty, they did not compete in those playoffs.
That was a hell of a game, by the way.
It was a hell of a game. Shit, I was there. Pissed me right off.
That's right.
Pissed me right off. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, but so y'all tired of that damn
dude, we don't care about that conference championship is great and all, but man.
I mean conference championship. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, man, it's all good. It's all well and good, man. But I mean, you need to win them. And don't get me wrong, you want to win those things. But it's important. The most important thing is that if you don't, it's one thing to get there and you just get beat by a better team. But when you have, look, that team that got beat by Georgia, think about that team, man. They had Samaje Perine and they had Baker, Samaje Perine.
It was a double overtime game, but we were pretty loaded too. I
know you were.
That was your best shot.
Tony Michelle and Nick Chubb were nasty good, bro. And I mean, the quarterback wasn't bad either, man. I mean, look, I know Georgia was good. I know they were. But I also look at that team and look at, as an Oklahoma fan, top to bottom, shit, man, that's a tough team to beat. CeeDee Lamb, you know, Samaj P. Ryan, freaking, I mean, good grief. D.D. Westbrook, these guys were just that good, bro. They were that good. And so, to me, yeah. It's hard.
Shout
Man,
out
that's
to
a
Steven.
tough
My bad,
deal.
Jason. I ain't mean to get y'all in y'all feelings.
Made me cry, shit.
My bad.
No, and it was using Stoops as players. Look. I'm not giving that shit to freaking Lincoln. What I'm telling you is that, yeah, he gagged that away. He did. He gagged it away. But you got to give credit to Georgia there, too. They played very well, and they had a nice team. But, again, I still believe that Oklahoma was the better team. I believe they would have beaten Alabama, too. I think if well, I say that. But Coach Stoops wasn't winning games that he needed to win either, man. He lost a lot of championship games. The big game Bob thing was a thing of the past, man. It kind of was. And I know that people don't want to hear that shit. But the truth is the truth is the truth.
Yeah, the proof in the pudding.
Yeah, P. Ryan wasn't on that team, was he? Rodney, Trey, and Abdul. Okay, Apache, you got us. 17. They were good, bro. Period. Bottom line is
they had a squad.
They had a squad, right? Yeah. First rounders on the O-line, couldn't stop anyone for years, man. Yeah, that's the whole point. They weren't stopping anyone for a long time. And the bottom line is that I'm not even just putting it on Lincoln in that aspect. Now, the problem was that it never got better. We knew what the problem was then, right? We knew what the problem was that season because Mike Stoops wasn't getting it done on defense either.
It had been for years, not that season.
It had been for years. They'd been shitty on defense, right? It had been. And so that's the whole Mike Stoops was the failure there. I agree. But
he turned the program around. You got to give him credit. He the one.
We're talking about Mike being the defensive coordinator, not Bob.
I got brother.
And that was part of the issue too. And listen, as much as I'm with you folks on screw freaking Lincoln Riley with all that, but I'm going to tell you this. That was overstepping by Bob Stoops right there by leaving his brother like that, making it to where he had to keep him in order for Bob to step down. Right? That's where it was kind of, and by the time they let him fire him, I mean, it was already kind of too late because of the fact that then you fire Schmitty. They don't get bigger anymore. They're getting smaller every year now. Because once Schmitty left and they brought in the yoga instructor to be the strength and conditioning coach, Wiley, who's that freaking SC now.
So what is that about? You getting smaller and faster to play pass defense? What is that about? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I've always wondered that, man. Like, you're in a passing league, but nobody can stop the pass. I never understood.
Yeah, to me, it's okay. Well, that's another one of those air raid things that comes from Mike Leach. So Grinch came from his best season was with Leach at Washington State. That got him the job at Ohio State, which he didn't last very long there. They sent him on to OU once they let him fire Stoops, right? But the problem is, and that's what the way that here's the thing that I've always felt like is it. I understand playing that kind of defense if you're at ECU or Texas Tech or Washington State. I understand it because you're not going to get those guys that you get at Texas and Alabama and Georgia and USC and Oklahoma for that matter, right? You're just not going to get those dudes. You're not getting Gerald McCoy and Tommy Harris walking through the door there. You're just not. So you need to find another way, right, to play decent defense. Speed is going to be more beneficial for you because you're not going to get the bulk like that. You're just not going to get those dudes. So you got to have another way, right?
At Oklahoma?
No. I'm not talking about at Oklahoma. I'm talking about at ECU and Texas Tech and Washington.
Okay, I got you.
Places like that. Well, that's where these cats come from, man. That's where these cats come from. They come from Texas Tech and East Carolina and Washington State. And they don't realize that now you got the keys to a Ferrari. You ain't got to drive it like a Ford no more. That's the way I've always felt about it.
So definitely a philosophy.
I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
I think it's a philosophy.
Yeah. I think that they get used to that, right? I just think that that's what Ohio State was ready to burn Grinch's
house. That's why I'm so hard on BV, is because he knows about the front. So for me not to see that in the first year, but to your credit, kind of helped me understand. And I'm saying the difference now, but that's why I'm so hard on BV.
Yeah.
Because I know he knows. You're not winning natties, and you're not staying consistent as a winning program without the boys. I just thought to see an immediate change.
Right.
That was my fault. But I have seen it this year, so I'm interested. I might have to eat my word, but I got time.
No, I get it. And I understand it. And I mean, it's like I said before, I wouldn't be able to sit here and tell you enough about what you know a hell of a lot more about what I'm going to know than what I'm going to know about Georgia. Right? I mean, I know plenty about I know enough about programs that I can have a conversation. But the thing is I understand. I mean, look, it's easy to just look at a program and say they are what they always have been. And Oklahoma's been a certain way for long enough that this is what you should expect. And if what you know is that BV has been a coordinator and his first year, you don't have to look. There was a lot of people out there saying that they were a hell of a lot better than they were. You kept hearing from the Colin Cowherds of the world and everybody else that, hey, he took over an 11-2 program. And kind of, except that program was gutted. He didn't.
So Jason, let me ask you this. So, and I guess this is what I'm getting. I'm going back to what I said earlier. So, are we going to see Oklahoma take on the personality of their head coach? They're going to be a better defensive team than offensive team. That's what they need.
Oh yeah, I think they already are probably. Okay. They're getting there already. Yeah, okay. I think that's what they're. Look, these kids have bought into him and what they're doing, and they're getting these. Look, they've already got 1 5-star defensive tackle, which is what they wanted. They've got a 5-star defensive end. They've got a high 4-star defensive tackle / end in Nigel Smith. They've got that 5-star we were talking about. Obviously David Stone, who's at IMG. The guy that starts right next to him at the other 3 technique, 2 technique, whichever you call it. He's coming with him. He's a high 4-star. They've got, this power line, they're building this thing on the defense more than it. They got a 5-star safety, Peyton Bowen, who's already mostly starting this year now. They did that in the first year after going 6-7. They got 2 5-stars on defense and 6 guys in the top 100. Only 1 of them or 2 of them were on the offense. The other 4 of them in the top 100 were defensive guys.
So you see the writing on the wall, and that's what I'm saying. Most good coaches, they take on the personality of their head coach.
And I think that the best thing that could have happened, a lot of people thought that, whatever people think about why BV left or whatever, he left because they brought Mike back and he felt slighted by Coach Stoops. They brought his brother back to be co-DC after he failed at Arizona and so he left. He went to Clemson. It was probably the best thing that he could have done for his career though, because now he opened a pipeline into Florida to get those defensive guys. He's coaching with Coach Bates and some of these other dudes. It's probably the best thing that ever happened. Plus, as much as you learn from Coach Stoops and then Coach Snyder too at K-State, you also learned what you learned from Dabo, which even though you can say what you want about him not evolving now, what they did before worked.
BV did what he was supposed to do. Get the money, you the highest paid coordinator.
Yeah.
The job that you want. You don't just take for somebody to offer. He took But like I say, he passed out on a lot of jobs. He took the job that he wanted.
Yeah.
He stepped into a great
He
situation.
did the right thing. He was there for 12 years. I mean, he definitely raised his stock from there. He definitely raised his stock from there. And oh yeah, by the way, they're about to pick up probably another one of the best defensive ends prospects in the country in Danny Okoye tomorrow. I mean, I don't know that they for sure get him. It sounds like Tennessee's in on him too. I think everybody's pretty much got him going to OU. I'm not saying anything about what they're going to do because I don't know what that, you never know with kids, man. And somebody could drop a bag at the last second. You just don't know. So we'll see what happens. But look, I just feel like they're definitely doing what they need to do to get better. Do I think it's all going to come together at once? I think 25 is their best opportunity to win the national championship. Now, I said that coming into this season.
That's a harder road, ain't it?
Yeah. That's what I was fixing to say. I said that coming into the season. I'm talking about being ready as far as like all the way across the board. But I'll tell you something. The more that this season goes on, and I know we're only 3 weeks in, really, coming into week 4. But if Clemson's not very good and Alabama's not great and LSU has chinks in the armor,
Georgia not great.
Georgia is definitely not the same Georgia team that the last 2 years. If they can get through Texas, why can't they win it? Why can't they win?
Yeah, I'm with you. I totally agree. I'm with you.
I mean, now listen, I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid just yet.
No, but you're making some good points.
Look, if they progress through this season the way that, because their schedule sets up good enough that if they can get tested enough and they beat Texas, if they can beat Texas, that could propel them into the playoff, right? Now they're going to have to beat Texas twice, probably.
Do your quarterback come back?
He could come back. I don't think he does. I think everybody's going to be ready for Jackson Arnold next year. Even though
if you're breaking in a new quarterback, I don't know. That'd be the problem when you break in a new
25. That's why I said if they break in a new quarterback first year in the SEC, that's tough, right?
Tough. Yeah.
Right. I agree, but there's going to be a lot of people who wants to call in.
Hey, Jason, I want to know if I can task you with this, man. I ain't never asked you for nothing. I ain't know you know. There's one thing I want to ask you. Can we please anybody find USCJ? Can we get him on the show? Because I'm so sick of hearing him talk about USC. And he act like when we get in the comments, he don't see us. Please get him on the show. And I don't want to wait till they lose, because if they lose, we ain't going to be able to find him. You met USCJ?
Oh, USCJ. Yeah.
Please let get him on the
show. Hey, he's welcome to. I don't know that he wants to, though. He don't.
Man, we got to get him on the show. I don't want to wait till they lose.
I like USCJ, man. When I was on the show with him that night, I don't think he liked me very much.
Man, he talking cash shit.
He does talk mad shit. Take on Sanders is awesome. My opinion.
Holy Bible and Sisters of the Poor.
Who is this?
He swear they the best team in the country.
Who are we talking about?
USCJ.
Oh yeah, no.
I swear they don't play.
Who is this Green Arrow cat? My take on Sanders? What is my take on Sanders? Tell me. DG not coming back next year. BV already said he can, though. He has that year that he could do it if he wanted to. I agree that he's probably not. But let me ask you guys this as OU fans. If they were to win the national championship and he could come back, would you not want him to come back and try it again? Or would you want to, throw a freshman at it to try to go win it again? Because these windows close pretty quickly, you realize, right?
And I'm gonna tell you this: NIL changed a lot of things too.
I like USCJ, man. He's good.
Come back. No, he cool now.
I like USCJ. Yeah, no, we like him.
He cool. I like him. I'm just talking about in
Yeah,
terms
we
of
like him. I don't know that he likes me that much.
Oh yeah,
I don't know that he likes me.
I remember that.
He got a little pissed off.
But y'all got some, that head coaching thing y'all got going on. But I just want to truly get his opinion about, USC, because I've caught his shows and I always catch them. I've caught a few of them live.
I watch his shows and I don't say nothing on his shows. I just watch and I think that, I mean, he's drinking up the Kool-Aid like most people do. And
like
look,
Florida State fans.
Look, man, if you are them, if you are those guys, you should be drinking it up, should you not? You got the Heisman Trophy winner. Y'all were 4-8 before he got there. But they don't want to listen to real talk. He's not like that other clown, that freaking Prangley guy. I mean, I like USCJ. I can't stand Tim Prangley though. I think that dude's a clown. Yeah, I can't hear you, man.
I'm sorry. I was mumbling. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I know the guy. You talking about Prangley?
Prangley, yeah, he's on a different show. He's on a different show, but I don't know if they work together ever or not. I've never seen them together. I like USCJ's show though. I think he's all right, and I think that like we had a good conversation on Twitter about it. Like that, we were good. I don't mind him, but
no, I don't mind him.
Prangley just likes to talk a bunch of shit.
I want to talk to him and get him on the show.
Have anything to back any of it up.
Because I want to get them on the show before they lose. Because I already know you can go from sugar to shit, penthouse to the poorhouse in 1 week, and I want to catch him before that happens. Because he in the penthouse right now.
Because you know it's going to happen. Because you know it's going to happen. That's why.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
I wonder if that's why he hadn't been back on Coach I's show.
I've been asking for. I've been trying to call. Listen, I don't got on his show. I don't call him out a few times. He won't respond.
Mm-hmm.
I like to start shit anyway.
Oh, I know you do. Bro, you awesome. Man, I gotta get off the show. I gotta go to work. On my second job. So folks, man, I appreciate everybody being in here. Shawty, tell everybody how to find you. I love it when you come on the show, man. It's a lot of fun to talk to you. We missed JJ coming back. He got zapped out of there, and he said he was coming back on, but I didn't know.
He had to go get some more quarters for the machine.
Yeah, they need some more quarters. Yeah, must have needed some more quarters. Yeah. Tell everybody how to find you, my man.
Oh, yeah, man. I always appreciate the invite, Jason, man. I love it, man. It's awesome, man. I appreciate the opportunity to get on here anytime to give me a chance. You guys can find me on YouTube every Wednesday night at 9:30. Just my damn opinion. They just like assholes. Everybody got them. Trust me, I got one too. So if you want to talk about a little bit of real talk, a little bit of sports talk, I talk about everything. So you know what I'm saying? You gotta have your mind right. Just be ready to, debate. And that's what you'll find me Wednesday nights, YouTube, 9:30. Just my damn opinion. Appreciate it, Jason.
Hey, no worries, man. No worries. And guys, thank you so much for coming in. Hey, I appreciate everybody and all your kind words about the show. We always enjoy having Shawty on. We always enjoy having JJ on. I say this a lot, and me and Coach talk about this a lot. We have the best guests on this show right here of anybody, week after week after week, and we appreciate that. We also have that Hall of Fame Mafia, man, is second to none in my opinion. Love you guys so much. Appreciate y'all coming in here. I definitely will be in Cincinatti.
Shout out to Hank, man. He came in the comments on just my damn opinion. So shout out to Hank from Oklahoma Nation.
That's what I'm talking about. Come to Canton and pick me up, Jason. Hey, how far is Canton from Cincy? I don't even know.
Oh, that ain't far.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, we'll figure it out. But hey, thanks a lot, guys, for everybody coming in here. We will. I may actually go on Shawty's show tomorrow night. He goes on a little after. We're gonna figure. I think Jay shows a little early for the commitment on Okoye. So we'll figure out what's going to go on with that. Looks like he may be coming to OU. We're going to find out. Look forward to it, though. And I will, but hey, thanks a lot again, everybody, for coming in. Make sure that you hit that like button if you hadn't already done so. And we will see you on the next one.